Alright, hello, good evening, welcome to this week's episode of Rough Rolling, where pain is indeed the name of the game. So, it's gonna be possibly a quieter session, depending on how we handle things. It really depends on whether my players, have stuff to do, if they're just gonna go, we pass time, which feels really unusual to actually do, because I don't think we've ever really done that before,
Yeah.
but,
How many times can we pass time before we get in trouble? Can we pass a few years?
no. We would just make new characters and we'd start something new.
Damn. Fair.
Oh,
I wait 3 years.
I guess if you're an elf, that doesn't really, affect you too much. But
That would suck as a DM, though, to be like, okay, how does the geopolitical landscape change in 3 years? And then you spend like 5 hours figuring it out, and you come back to the elf player, and they're like, I think I'll wait a few more years.
and that's when I go, I think you should find a different table.
Fair.
I probably would have actually done that the first time. So, what exactly happened last time, Joel?
Well, last time, we wrapped up with our dealings with the cult spider. We got paid by the city guard for a job well done. And we, for the moment, parted ways with Guru Gamesh, who decided to pursue their own journey. Even with the cult of the spider dealt with, though, it still left Nahum Caligaro left in a dream plane. A problem we still had to deal with. So, to track down a way to get to his realm, we revisited once again Madame Carrington, and found out that to do so, we need not only a magical key that was gifted to us, but we also need a book known as the Book of Dreams. Together with that and a ritual that is in the book, we should be able to go after Nahum. However, we cannot find the book. We don't know. We didn't know where it was, so we searched for a while, did some digging, and learned that Barvasi's band most likely has the book. Although, considering what happened with the Cult of the Spider, they've gone underground and hiding, and it'll be very hard to find them again. Perhaps even days it'll take to find them. But we still looked anyways. Me and Cyrus went looking for a few hours, spreading the word around, knowing that there's interest in a meeting with Barvasi's band. The others spent most of their time shopping. Sven in particular got a really nice ring.
Which I proceeded to try and show off.
At every moment.
even in the recap.
I have a feeling it's not going to end here.
So it's a ring that looks like... No, I'm kidding.
I'm bored. Otherwise, we sat down and watched some theater. Enjoying our win the best we could, but the feeling of winning wasn't exactly present within most of the party. Especially considering that the entire threat has not been dealt with yet. But that's a problem for tomorrow. And tomorrow is now.
Indeed.
Actually, I'd like to do some shopping. No.
Indeed. No, you already went back to Bannerhelm and went to sleep. So that happened.
But I want to shop some more.
No, you can do
Great.
that after fucking exposition.
I go to the 24/7 drive-through.
Can I get 2 number 9s, 7 healing potions, 2 greater healing potions? I also get
Like the drive-through,
a
24-hour liquor store.
You know what? I'll get a cloak of +3 resistance. Because I'm feeling spicy.
Yeah. So, you guys did pass the night. It is now 8 o'clock. I know some people get up early, some people don't. You guys can sort of dictate your schedule as the day starts anew.
So, Sven only has to get 2 hours of sleep because of his ring. So I would like to have Sven hunt in the morning for stuff like deer or boar or anything like that, with the idea of bringing it back for like a church or a homeless shelter or something of that nature.
There's no problem. Give me like 3 survival rolls.
Oh yeah. Ability checks. Sorry, I'm gonna try and use this thing. This new thing that we have. You said survival?
Yep, survival.
Survival. Survival. Survival.
All right. So, definitely a very productive hunting session, considering those deer are diurnal. You're able to get out there pretty early and able to pin a cushion a couple of them, including one sizable buck, which is pretty unusual to see at this time of year. And dragging it back, you're able to get them processed, butchered at the Abathar slaughterhouse. Where you donate it will be up to you. Obviously, the Temple of Sojourn is like right there. There are other temples throughout the city. Take your pick.
You know what? Actually, and I'm gonna have to pull up Sven's
Or the old
sheet for
Temple of
this.
Aetheric, which, while it is technically not a temple anymore, kind of functions as like a charity,
Do you think?
sort of.
Do you think Athisius would have something like that?
Possibly. Where is it? This is.
That's the god of the hunt, right?
Well, I think Eric is generally like the wilds, which he has a shrine, but not a functioning temple. Exactly.
Yeah, okay, Athisius. Agriculture, harvest, fertility, hunting, and small trade.
Yeah, that's fair enough. This, I believe, would be... Yeah, it's in the Highland Terrace by the wet market.
Okay. Because Sven loosely follows Athisius. So I think that'd be proper for him to bring the spoils there. It's a good offering, too. Maybe he'll offer the antlers as sacrifice? No. Offering.
Well, the Temple of Athisius is interesting because it's also being the god of small trade, agriculture. It's almost like going into a market. You're right up against Green Dragon Bazaar and right across the street from the wet market, so you already have a sizable, like, market street that you're able to go and interact with. And the actual priests here are kind of... They're dressed plainly. They kind of look like guys you would see working at a shop.
That's actually
not pathetic.
So,
not like going to a supermarket, but
So something. So instead of like leaving an offering of gold to the gods, you could like offer trade goods to the priests, and then they sell it.
Yeah.
That would fit with the god, right? All right,
I mean,
I'll do that. I'll do that with the antlers. I'll be like, hey, or like the skull. And I'll be like, hey, you know, here's a deer that I got. Praise Athisius.
Yep, considering it's a decent rack and take a little bit of work, but otherwise somebody would probably buy that, put on their walls. So, you know, definitely a couple silver, maybe a couple gold there.
Oh, this is just a donation.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant, like as in what it probably would fetch.
Okay.
And then obviously the meat, which will go towards feeding people and whatnot. So that's probably going to be most of your morning. You might get done and get back maybe around like 9 or 10. Because you wouldn't go hunting in the dead of night because the animals would not be moving.
I don't know. Every time I'm on my way home at like 12:30, there's always deer on the road.
Yeah. So, I guess until like 9 o'clock, 9 or 10 at worst. That's probably gonna be your day.
Sure.
Everybody else, I'm assuming the two of you are up pretty early, regardless, for your own reasons. So, you guys are up before basically the rest of, not well, what's left of your party, but most of the all the rest of Bannerhome as well, and the city at at large. So, as you guys are getting up, you're hearing the sounds of the city come to life. 6 or 7 or 8 or whenever.
8 o'clock seems probably fine.
Yeah.
Had a few short nights, so probably sleeping a little bit.
I was gonna say, I think you guys got back at like 11, so getting an actual full night's rest for once is possible at like a normal-ish time. Which means Daxius is probably the last one up.
Oh, probably.
So, as you guys variously get awake, you pretty much have the day ahead of you. Nothing really on the schedule. You're still going to be waiting until you hear something from Cyrus, considering the leads that he has sown, and you're free. You have free reign.
You're goddamn right we're free. Starts waving American flag.
Well, here's your hospital bill. That'll be about 2.5 million.
Yeah. You can pay it to me.
I'd like to go on a payment plan of 500 gold a month.
Anyways, so
Dungeons and Dragons, or just trying to struggle to pay medical debt.
Oh, God.
Yeah, see Breaking Bad.
Ay, ay.
Seems too real.
All right, so I mean, you guys are before.
Sven is probably sitting in the tavern getting some meals or eating as people come down.
Just hand on my head, like normal, groggy, half awake self in the morning. For our next coffee.
Good morning to you too.
Morning.
Just sort of robotically reaches over and grabs the thing and just fills it with water.
Thanks.
Starts pouring it into the percolator. Anytime.
I'm sorry.
So-
Anytime I hear percolator, I think of that Weird Al song.
Matching salt and pepper shakers too.
Fucking hardware store?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's
One of my
the good
favorite
ones.
songs of all time.
Alright.
Well,
Yup.
when I've woken up a little bit, do you still want to visit that Luttendorff fellow, Phoenix?
Oh, yes. Would probably be good in a little bit or so. I was thinking maybe I would eat before I got all of my spells done for the day.
Well, I don't want to be going anywhere without those.
Yes, it is rather inconvenient not to be prepared.
I'm
At least I feel like
So
I
how
would
did
be.
you? So how did you folks sleep?
Like
Eh.
a rock.
I bagged a few good bucks today, actually. You know, it's strange only sleeping for 2 hours. You have so much more you can do in the day. I spent
Right.
it just hunting, to be honest. I gave it to
What?
the Temple of Theseus. I've not given my dues in a long time.
Well, good as long as it's restful. That's the important thing.
Yeah, I suppose, yes.
Oh yeah, I didn't know you were a worshipper.
I didn't
Actually,
either.
It's more of a loose thing. I'm not terribly devoted, but I do believe in what they stand for. I think that they are very important to the world.
I certainly can understand that. And it's good of you to follow up on your commitment.
Yes, the last time I gave my dues was back. Oh goodness. Do you remember the temple that was overrun with weeds and wilderness? It was back on the other side of the river.
Oh,
I
What in that?
can't quite remember. It feels so long ago.
in that tiny town?
Yes, that was when I last gave my dues.
Wow. Well,
I did give quite good dues. I think it was something like a couple hundred gold, but it has been a long time.
I suppose I'm not familiar if there are any preferences, but I'd like to think that maybe if there hasn't been an offering in a while, the god is more favored, or looks more favorably upon that.
Yes, I think so.
I'm
Well,
just
Does
especially
anyone
the
know where Vic is? Is he sleeping in today?
well, I suppose
He's
I
dealing
assume
with
so.
dealing with a pile of shit that somebody dumped in his lap. Should be cleaned up soon.
Sounds like a joy. Dax is just there, like, slowly falling asleep again as this conversation of gods is going on.
Yeah, Daxis, wake up! Slap,
Yeah.
slap, slap.
There's the
What the fuck?
you should be ready now.
Violently shake. Wake up, Daxis!
What?
Really?
The accident was not your fault.
Oh, God, they always keep telling me that, but I know it's not true.
Picks up a pair of metal tongs and like grabs the flask and tips it into the percolator. There we go.
Right next to the matching salt and pepper shaker.
Hmm. Oh,
Is it ready? I'm dying over here.
Splash
Looks to
coffee on
be just-
Daxius' face.
wait till the water all filters down and you can pour yourself some.
I wait seemingly patiently, but it's not patient at all.
Casting create water again into the fucking thing. I'm assuming that I did the just for fluff purposes, because I'm like, I really don't care if I can't create water the following day, but yeah, it hates you using any spells that you have prepared or available, like in the previous rotation sleep cycle before, for whatever reason. So, yep. So the idea of like, I'm gonna wake up. I need to make this skill check. I should cast guidance on myself. Well, you did that before you prepared spells, so no more guidance for you for tomorrow, or at least that Orison slot is gone. And it's like,
Yeah,
okay.
no, that's. I'm sure there's definitely a reason, and if some kind of abuse came out of it, maybe I'd change my mind. But I'm not fucking dealing with that. That is way too much shit to keep, because I have to keep track of that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that.
that's why I was like, I'm gonna just make coffee with create water and call it Dutch. Even though I think it might have said I need to meditate for an hour to prepare just to create water. And no.
I think by
It's
now,
okay.
I thought you'd already done that. That was the assumption. Same with
I have-
Vic and his
I have a-
meditation.
Yeah, I have a backup item for 2 gallons of water a day anyway, so we're good.
All right.
Yeah, more coffee available. Oh, did you want any potion coffee, by the way? Is potion coffee?
Yes, I would love potion of shit pants. It's honestly.
Isn't
It's
coffee in a way already kind of a
Probably.
potion?
It
You
is
could call
alchemically
it
brewed.
Exactly.
and perhaps like an alchemical distillation.
You are imbuing properties into a liquid.
Fuck, if you want to spice up my coffee, I won't say no.
Well, what potion you want?
Whiskey.
All right. Well, that's okay. Some sort of magic.
No,
Hold on.
surprise me.
Yeah. You know what? I will
Puts
In that
whiskey
case,
in
I'll-
anyway.
surprise you in a minute.
Alright,
Actually,
I'm timing you.
I take out a vial of water and I glare into it, and the water turns kind of just dark purplish for a second before going back to normal. Then I sit there shaking it for a minute,
It's lean.
sticking on the. Yeah, it basically is to anything that's magic. We'll put it on the green eyes coffee pot, and we'll deduct that usage to make what I think. Since I'm shaking up this dispel magic potion, right? So that's a gas. So it's. I'll also explain that this is a targeted dispel magic gas. You probably don't want to drink this coffee unless there's a thing on you that's magic that you want to get rid of. Then you do want to drink this coffee. And you can drink this coffee by taking the container that it's in, dropping it at your feet, and inhaling it like a vape, which might not be the greatest plan, but it's an option that you have available to you.
I just
Or you can force someone
gingerly
else
pick
to
up
do
the
it.
potion.
Yeah, it looks like normal coffee.
Just okay.
And there's also a spare dispel magic potion that I'm pocketing there too. So
All right.
Yeah, I'm definitely saving that. Not what I was expecting. And I am no more awake. That's fine.
nope,
All right.
we might need it later.
With our kind of luck, we probably will.
Has Vic managed to clean the shit out of his? Yeah.
Yeah, you still got to keep an eye on it to make sure nothing else pops up. But apparently, his fecal problems are taken care of for the moment.
Oh, good.
Good. Yeah.
Good for him.
So, what is at least initially the plan for like what's everybody gonna do in the order that they're doing it?
I think me and Fernix, at least, if not the whole party, was gonna go and visit. I mean, what was his name? Hold on. I closed the note. Christoph Luttendorff the Younger.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got a tip that perhaps they might have some knowledge of this arc.
All right. Well, you and I believe a couple other people, because I believe it was spoken, I know that the Luttendorffs are probably the richest family in the entire principality, if not the entire empire.
Mhm.
Probably not, but you know, it's kind of hard to keep track of a lot of that in a time before the internet
Yeah.
or widespread printing presses. They're also one of the most powerful families in the city, and it's believed that they're probably going to end up taking the throne. Maybe not immediately, but like depends on who ends up going to the throne here in the principality, really.
Seems likely, though.
They spend their money pretty freely in the city. They're pretty well liked. I believe they were the ones that paid, like you were told that they paid for the attempt to light up Bridgefront using the lamplighters, and it didn't go very well. So,
I remember that, yeah.
yeah. That was like the last real attempt for anybody to bring any amount of law and order to that neighborhood. and that was years ago. So, yeah. Any other questions like that, let me know, but that's what you know.
All right. Well, should we head over then?
No. It's
May as
totally
well.
fine.
Go.
All right. We'll head over there then.
Love it. So,
You can
Because
tell we're all out of it.
yeah, no, I feel like
It's
everyone
zero.
is like, I don't even know what the phrase to
Like
use.
we've been
I'm trying to
we've
wake
been in
up.
the ring with Tyson for 3 rounds and we're clinging to life.
What it seems like for various different reasons. So,
Mm.
you're able to gather up what you think you need for the day and head out of Bannerhome, making the trip through the northern part of town, past the last drop in the university, which is definitely hopping, I suppose, is the right word. But tis.
Yo, this shit is popping off.
Oh shit.
Either way, you end up in the richest part of the city, not necessarily named for the area that it's in. It's just this is where all the money seems to congregate. With the palace owned by the Luttendorffs being by far the largest. It is a sprawling estate, fenced in, well, I guess hedged in is the phrase. Tall hedges and almost seems like kind of a mixture between a museum, like a park, a religious installation, and a military installation. And as you approach the gates at the front, they're open and there are guards there that kind of give everybody a bit of an eye, but nobody stops you going in. It is a walk from the gates back to the actual house where you actually see the home. It is huge. Absolutely huge. Has anybody here ever been to Asheville, North Carolina?
No.
The Biltmore Mansion is what I think of when I describe this house. The stupid largest house in the entire continental U.S. Still technically
Interesting.
privately owned. And, yeah. We've also
What
the
did you say
first
that place
private
was
home
called?
to have an elevator.
Wow.
Well, it was
What
owned
what
by
did
the
you say? it was
Biltmores.
called?
The Biltmore Mansion in Asheville, North Carolina. While it is
Ooh.
definitely an older home, and this is the one I'm speaking of in game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've been there. It's fucking beautiful. I was a kid, so I couldn't really appreciate it, but I would go back as an adult to do that again. Hopefully on a day where it wasn't like 105. In the
Yeah.
shade.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And also when they weren't having a car show specifically for Saturns. The
Oh.
little roadster they made back in the early 2000s. Yeah, it was very fucking weird. It is a darker
Oh, these bits.
It is a darker stone home with slate roofs, with a lot of very tall, very expensive looking windows. None of which are stained glass, but as you look at the designs, you almost think that they probably should. Around you, now that you're through the hedges, you're able to see the installations that are here on the ground, including a private pond and a sizable statue, possibly of a now deceased Luttendorff. You pass a lot of people, groundskeepers, most likely servants coming in and out, and you're able to see a stable house to the side, carriage house as well, being tended to by stable hands and the like. You're able to go up to the home without anyone stopping you, really.
Knock, knock, knock. Or I will use like one of those like
There is a door
Fuck,
knocker.
Door knocker, yeah.
You don't have to wait.
Massive wall.
Sorry? You're robotic right now.
Yeah.
You don't have to walk around a big spiral.
Oof.
Big lags through the.
He falls through the world and gets under the map.
Yeah.
Starts
You
seeing things he shouldn't.
You see all the unused assets. You see all of the whole party just like posing.
Where all the character
Yeah.
models are. Could be worse. Could be like Fallout 3, where the train is just a dude with a giant train head.
Yeah, Caligaro is just sitting there, like, look at me, like, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Just sitting there reading a newspaper saying, "Too early. It's a couple chapters from now. Just go the other way and just look the
Yeah.
fucking newspaper up."
The developers haven't made this yet. Come on.
All right, I
Is this any
figured
better
out
at
it's
all?
working. So
Yeah, we hear you
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Did you guys hear what I said, or should I repeat again?
You repeat it, yeah.
One more time, please.
No, it's we don't have to do that whole spiral thing with the wizard tower.
Oh my god, don't even remind me. Ugh. Thank god. At least it's just a ostentatiously long driveway.
yeah, you don't have to wait very long before you finally hear the massive door like thud and begin to open, revealing a woman in a suit. Probably half elf, definitely favoring the elven side. She looks out to everybody and gives a, "Can I help you?"
Oh, I will say, I'm human form, short hair, very nice clothing.
Okay.
Hi, I represent Cyrus Hatzbolt. I'm here to speak to a Christoph Luttendorff.
Well, I believe the master of the house is perhaps resting at the moment, but you may please come in. We won't leave you standing out on the stoop. And she opens
course,
the
thank
door
you.
to let you in.
I walk on in.
Head in after him.
I'm assuming everyone isn't armed to the teeth.
Correct.
No, if I've got anything, I've got the rapier, but it's pretty much it.
But you don't
Mhm.
look like you're, about to hit the fields at Crazy.
Yeah.
The chain shirt underneath my shirt, but mythal chain shirts are kind of like they're not too heavy,
You're like Kevlar.
so it's
Sven,
like a casual Kevlar vest.
Sven always has his armor on.
Then you look weird
Yep.
compared to everyone
That's
else.
fine.
Always.
That's fine.
I
The thing is,
Times.
I've got my armor, but I switched to the breastplate and have the sleeves of many garments, so
Alright, so you've reined it in.
it's concealed. The only thing is, the weapon might be visible through the cloaks and stuff.
Well, it's not necessarily an uncommon thing to be somewhat armed in this time period. Heavily armed, a bit odd, but yeah. So,
I mean, most of my stuff's hidden by like my illusions, but I imagine if I'm not able to hide it, probably not.
you should.
I'll probably have my crossbow hidden somewhere if I can, like behind, like on my back, behind my cloak or something.
Well, the woman doesn't search you. You at least look official enough. You don't look like homeless people coming to try and, oh god, trick the rich people out all the money that they hoard. You enter into a pretty cavernous, foyer with marble floors, very high ceilings, staircase at the back climbing up, and a walkway through that most likely goes to a dining room, kitchen, or something like that. She gestures off to the side where in this absolutely cavernous lobby, you're able to sit down on lush couches. Or she says, "Should I fetch the master or his son?"
Fuck. The master isn't Christoph. The son, Christoph.
Very good. I'll fetch him in just a moment. I'll let him know that a representative from the Hatzbold family has come to court, and he'll decide as to whether he wants to engage or not.
Of
Give me
course.
just a few moments. Thank you. And
Nod
she
my head.
too, goes to the stairs and climbs up and out of sight, leaving you guys alone. Even before you sit down or anything, you can hear like people moving around throughout the house. People move through like maids and others who are like cleaning or taking care of things. Nobody looks at you. Maybe like a flicker of the eyes, but then just on.
Fair.
Which, those of you who have ever been in like an atmosphere like this or like an environment like this, not uncommon. Where the help just, you're invisible to them, they're invisible to you.
I imagine a part of it is also people not wanting to look at the not wanting to draw the attention of the armed adventurers.
Well, that and a lot of nobles find it very offensive when the peasants get uppity. So, yeah, hard to tell whether this noble is going to be the kind that actually talks to you or beats you.
Well, I guess we'll
Sort of
see.
like wiping off my skull cap, making sure we didn't get any dust on us. Being the one going around picking little bits off of people's cloaks.
After maybe about 5 or 6 minutes, you finally hear a couple of sets of feet coming down the stairs. And you watch somebody, actually 2 people round the banister and start making down the final stretch of the stairs. On the one side is a man, probably in his mid-40s, human, short-cropped hair, well-dressed, but not very like formal, holding up a bit of like parchment and just talking to a man who's standing behind him, standing beside him, who is dressed more as perhaps one of you would. Clothes are meant for travel or all-purpose use, like all season, and he definitely seems to be rougher and poorer, which I guess, compared to the family that owns this house, is everyone. So, the 2 of them get to the center of the lobby before you hear the well-dressed man say, "All right, I'll let the rest of you handle it. It's up to you. Take care of it." And he just like pats the guy on the shoulder, and the guy turns and goes back through the back of the house. The man he's clean shaven, he's lighter of skin, he's thin, he's tall, but not. He's like around 6 foot, give or take. He seems to be relatively pleasant, like in the way he holds himself. Turns around, walks over towards you, towards all of you, and says, "And what do I owe the pleasure of a visit from the Hatzbold family?"
I extend a hand if he's willing to shake.
Yeah, he does. Like, there isn't like any real hesitation there either. He's not wearing like any rings or jewelry. You notice he is not wearing any jewelry at all. And he shakes your hand, and as he like steps back, he says, "I don't recognize any of you, so I don't think any of you actually belong to the family, correct?"
I'm simply a servant who's visiting the town. As for these fellows, might I present to you the members of the Gatecrashers, members of the Valier Society?
Well, if somebody from the Valier Society had simply called ahead, I would have furnished them with whatever they were looking for, but that's neither here nor there. What are we interested in today, as I believe that this is not a social call?
It is not. We are here looking for information. My master is very interested in the collecting and dealings of magical items, and we were told that you are very informed in this department. Yes?
Generally speaking, it's one of my specialties. I hold pretty large holdings in a lot of the shipping companies around here, and I often use them to collect information for me. as they go about their business as sort of a personal endeavor.
Splendid. Well, we are currently looking for a much harder to find item. I, of course, can't really do much service in describing it. Might I, Phoenix, I believe this is, something you are most familiar with out of all of us.
Well, let's
Well,
let's not stand in the lobby and do this. We can handle actually business back in the study and library. Please, come on. I'll send some of the servants for some refreshments and drink.
You are too kind.
Right.
He turns and begins leading you off to the eastern wing of the home, taking you down a rather fancy hallway bedecked with paintings, sculptures, other obviously valuable things. Those of you who have any like education in magic, you can definitely tell probably some of the items that are on display are some level of magic, mostly very old. Stuff that would probably still be usable, but would be very, very unfashionable or odd to use, so they're more decorative pieces than they are useful ones.
I want to roll knowledge nobility to see if there's anything interesting here.
Well, knowledge nobility would give you information about the families or things like that as opposed to equipment.
Oh no, I meant like the paintings on the wall of people.
Oh, yeah. As he walks, he speaks with whoever's... Well, actually, no, he mostly addresses, like, the group, kind of, like, turning a bit, like, as he's walking, and says, I haven't heard anything from out that way in a while. What exactly has brought around Cyrus's desire to learn anything from me? And based on how he says that, you can definitely tell there's an edge to it.
Yeah. Well,
Are you familiar with the incidents around town surrounding the drugs that have been distributed?
Painfully. Myself and my father have been trying to handle that problem for such a long time that even with all our money and our influence, it wasn't really something we could tackle. Every attempt ended up turning into a boondoggle.
Well, apparently the purported reason for this is that someone used a book that may or may not have contained a page that was not supposed to be in it, and now this book is gone with the wind, supposedly.
He looks back to you kind of like interested, but like not really like knowing, like there's no look of recognition to it.
I
Well-
believe it was on Dreamwalking.
That's an interesting topic. Why exactly would that have come up? I think I have my
It was,
guess, but I don't want to say it and perhaps slander somebody who might have the ability to respond in kind.
it was related to the person's goals that they be, I believe, in some sort of a dream world, but they did not arrive there. In fact, believe this to be some sort of a nightmare realm that we're dealing with. So, yes, the book, right? Wasn't it was this one red leather bound as well? I can't seem to remember the precise description that was given for that.
were we
Other
given
than there
a
was a
I
page
don't
torn
think
out.
so. I don't think you were given one. Who have you spoken to that might have given you some sort of idea as to what it looked like?
Myra?
Did we get a title?
You did
Even?
the Book of Dreaming.
Book of Dreams.
Yes. There we are.
It's not immediately familiar to me, but well, you'll see. And he just turns around and, like, opens up two large doors into a library at the end of the hallway, which climbs up 2 stories and is rather sizable. shelves covered with everything, not just books, but maps and attempts at globes and other artifacts that are held behind glass, most of which seem to be of unknown purpose. Barry, give me the roll.
For knowledge and ability?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not trained.
Well, so does that mean you have a
10.
DC 10 maximum?
Yep.
Oh, then probably.
Nobles
you-
are very rich.
They are indeed. You walk by a lot of paintings that definitely seem to be on the older side. The people that are in them are disparate. Some kind of look like one another, not a lot do. They're all regal, and they all have names under them that are very Vulcarian, and all generally are preceded by Duke or Duchess. There are a few that are animated, like they move a little bit. They don't react to anything, but they kind of move in order to show the person or their surroundings a little bit better. Those seem to be on the newer side, closer to the lobby. So, as for like who's in them, however, I mean, their names, obviously there are actually plaques on all of them. Not only who the person being depicted is and when they lived, but who painted the painting as well. The names are not necessarily familiar, other than the fact that they have Luttendorff at the end, or stated to be a cadet branch of the family. So, as you enter into the library, he gestures for you to walk forward and then closes the door behind you, kind of sending a nice bang reverberating out into the sizable library. The windows are open. It is bright, beautiful, shining into this room of multicolored bookcases covered with books of every single fucking color imaginable, one right after the other. Some thick, some thin, some large, some small, some newer, and some very old.
Wow.
He then
I
walks
see.
around you towards the front or the center of the library as you look around.
So you might have a copy or two lying around.
Sven's just kind of looking around, taking it all in.
Kind of same.
Well, depending. If it was something that there were more copies made of, then it is a possibility distinctly. If it's something unique and it is known to not be here, then there will not be anything else that you're gonna find hidden in these walls.
And I shall place my prayers on the former result.
So, we were looking for something... Now, forgive me. When I have these questions brought to me, who exactly is asking? Is it the individuals who are standing in this room? Or is this going to go back to Hatzbolt?
Did Hetzbolt really want to know about any of this? I don't think so.
Not about the book. There was another matter. But, to be honest, if the information isn't worth their time, or perhaps even too vague, I might just deem it, not worthy of his ears. It is, it's only a subject that has recently crossed paths with him, and it's more of a, subtle interest, if anything. No, most likely, it'll stay between us, but it's more of a, house call.
Sure. Then, whichever one you wish to start with, you may do so at your own leisure.
Thank you. Let me just see if anything sticks out.
Slightly
Fair.
off to the side. From what it was described, I think the Book of Dreams was also supposed to be a journal to Sojourn. I'm not sure that they would have necessarily a copy here. It seems somewhat personal. And even if it did, the ritual page that was inside would definitely not be present.
How do we even
Well.
find such a thing here?
If not the book itself, then there might be a book that mentions the book.
Noble. Do you? I out of game. I forget his name. I would.
Noble.
I forget his name.
Christoph.
Christoph, important question. Do you use the Dewey Decimal System?
I'm not entirely certain what that is, but we do have things organized in a way that, generally speaking, you're able to find things. Generally starting with the last name of the author and moving around the room. He gestures to one side of the door behind him and says, starting there, wrapping around, and finishing on this side.
Okay.
Do we know the author's name?
I don't think we do. But
This might be very difficult.
Either way, I don't think we're going to find the book here. I don't think, based off the information you've given us so far. But there is one other matter, and I turn back to Fernix.
More coffee, please.
Oh, sure. I give him the Dispel Magic coffee.
Yum yum.
Ever drank coffee through your nose? You have now.
I can't wait.
It would be so funny to randomly treat Fernix like an intern and just be like, Fernix, coffee, please.
Like perfect. Yeah, I'll coffee. You fucking throws a fireball potion.
Just put the beans on top of your head. And cast straight water over top.
We tip him 2 silver after he gets us our coffee.
Oh boy. That's almost enough to buy half of a whole drink.
I can almost buy a coffee with this.
Oh wait, I won't have enough to tip them. Never mind.
Anyways.
You would have just the tip.
Yeah, we don't know the author or anything, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
But we could start by trying to find something to do with dreamwalking. Seems to have been the main pull of the other journal.
Yep. Don't be afraid to pull on any loose threads. I'll spend some time gathering myself, but then I'm going to meditate briefly and read through a whole bunch of books, so just put them over somewhere, and I'll get to them.
I guess we have our work cut out for us.
Well, if that's what you're gonna go ahead and do, I guess everybody just splitting up.
I am gonna
I mean,
kind of lean over to Fernix and just say, like, didn't we want to ask about the Ark too?
Oh right. How to bring that up exactly? What's the? We basically don't know what that does either.
Not really, but it could be. I don't know. He could have heard something.
This
Look, as far as I was told, if he's unable to, based off the information I received, basically, if he has no knowledge of it, it basically doesn't exist, according to the person I heard about it from. But
well, of course, let's not whisper amongst ourselves. What was it called again? The Ark? Was that it?
I think so, at a game.
I think that we should also ask the question, if we ask him about this, will that bite us in the ass?
As you say this right in front of him.
Oh, well.
He seems like a proper sort.
When the name The Ark comes up, can I just, like, sense motive and see if there's, like, any small emotion behind those eyes? Like,
Sure, give me a sense motive.
Yep.
I mean, as you guys are talking about this, he definitely has a look of, am I having my time wasted?
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
He's like trying to listen to get like bits and pieces to what the hell it is you're trying to figure out, but like as you guys like you talk about it, he focuses because there's like a bit, and then you guys talk about something else, and it's like, well, what the fuck am I gonna do with that?
Yeah, because kind of decided on the stuff we were talking about last week, and then
Yeah, that's usually how
I
it
was
goes.
like, all right.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't remember last week right now, but here we go.
I'm kind of leaving this to you, Phoenix, because you're most familiar with the item. And then however much you want to disclose, that's up to you.
Basically everything. It was a box that was apparently containing some sort of dangerous magical object or weapon or something that was held onto by the Venetian cult. Don't remember where it was taken from exactly. The Draken Empire, that's it. And we don't have exact timing on the location of this thing being moved, but it was moved several times and likely has changed hands. Now may be in the possession of someone dangerous, potentially. For how long, I don't know, but it's a good question.
So yes, it did come from Imperia. They came from the capital of Drakengard. And you do actually have a date as to when it was moved and when it was where, at what places it was. Remember the entries from the both the monk and the guards who he hired in Einsberg at the time, in order to leave with them from the city going west. Those were dated.
Okay. Cool.
Also,
If ever you have a question of remember when, the
Yes,
answer should automatically be no, we don't remember.
yeah.
These documents have the dates on them. I'm still very tired. I think I probably didn't brew enough coffee.
I can't remember. I'm digging through my notes. I just didn't write down the exact name or date. But
They are thankfully under player documents here in Foundry.
Mhm. I'm trying to find them. There's so many.
First one that was found in the
766.
so yeah, Burn Journal was found down there.
Yeah.
The
The Burn
Yes.
Journal doesn't seem to be dated.
Neat.
it is not, but the Journal of Lieutenant Quintus Claudius is.
Yep,
and that's when it
766.
was in Innsbruck, yes.
Yeah. So that was
Almost
while
700
it was
years ago.
while the Venetian cult had it still. Probably. They might have had it for some time after that.
Okay. What else? I believe there might have been one more.
I thought the other one was my personal one where while your guy was getting stabbed, it was like next door, basically, or something along those lines.
Possibly.
But, yeah, or it was at least close enough that it was a concern.
Otherwise, the information was presented to you by the holographic head in the temple or on the walls. Which I believe I think I wrote down everything that was said about it and described to you, but I don't think that's something I gave to you like in game or as part of your records. So
Right.
The only thing I have date wise was there was a wine that was dated 688. So not. I would imagine that. Yeah.
I would probably go with what you found from the lieutenant's journal, as that is the most like you knew it was there then and left afterwards.
Yeah, 766.
The third era is not some bizarre count backwards timescale, right?
No.
So that's okay. Good.
We're in the third era.
Just double
actually.
checking.
And the
I
numbers
was
are
like-
going up.
It's
I was
currently
like, it's been a
14.
minute for that too, so I'm like just making sure I know how the time scale works.
Yep.
And
It's on the
that's
calendar,
not
actually.
actually later.
Okay, so how is this conveyed? Like,
I'd try to catch him up on all the stuff that we know that's relevant to the arc, including that it may be intrinsically linked to this other dimensional stuff that we don't entirely understand, but briefly recount our other experience, and just that I've got a funny feeling
mhm.
that they might be connected in some way.
And I'm fine
Which
to
is-
use the role
which
I
isn't
just
a-
made, but I would like to
It's
just...
not. Yeah.
I just like to keep an eye on him for any like signs of recognition. That's all.
Okay, so I'm gonna assume that you're like, do you give him any information about, like, say, your exploits in Innsbruck? What you saw, that you found a temple at all, and B, what you saw in it? Do you give any information related to things which happened before that to you personally?
Honestly, we could.
Like, I do recount the fact that my master was murdered, and that I didn't know why until incredibly recently. Turns out exactly why.
Well, technically, no, you don't, because that never happened.
Not. Oh,
Yeah.
right. So no, I don't. So I still don't know why, including now, very recently. I never learned it. Just a moment ago.
All right. So you give him the information that you have,
Yes.
explaining, like, you do give him information, say, hey, we found a temple to vase under Innsbruck.
Yeah, and the names of the people who were there and everything. But what they were doing, we're pretty sure.
Slightly concerned about giving all of that information out, because I think that kind of falls into the don't talk about this area that we got from several people.
So yeah, that's more or less why
Right.
I'm asking everyone as a group, because I'm assuming that everyone is providing this information.
He might be the only one who might know stuff about this, though, so... It's also,
Maybe.
like... If we don't provide him the information, then we're potentially wasting our best lead.
Yeah, potentially.
Just saying, maybe we start off with keeping things as vague as possible and open things up as the questions come along, and it may be needed.
Sure.
Yeah,
go,
I'd like to do that if we can.
Sure. Go ahead and, like, present it however you think. Like, what do you initially give?
Okay, so... We did find what looked like some sort of temporary dwelling that was put together by some of the followers of Vez when they were transporting this ark or whatnot, and a journal about it, which is right there, of course. And it's most of the information that we had on it. We had located the thing while we were attending to one of the other matters that we had going on in the city, and sort of happened to glance into our surprise after knocking down a wall. There it was. So there were some marks where something large and heavy had been moved, and that was really most of what was in there, I think.
Okay, so the information that you give him, like, you're not giving any kind of dates or locations, but you're giving, like, some sort of... So you present him with the burned journal?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be okay,
Burned
right?
journal was...
I think so.
He, obviously walks you over to, like, a table at the center of the room that's, like, very well lit. Puts the journal down and works through it pretty quickly, going from what has actually survived, which unfortunately is not a lot. Obviously, mostly just at the end, which in a way is still relatively useful. He looks through this and says, well, it seems like they're describing the moving of something possibly magically unstable. Sounds like he probably came out of somewhere in the north, where there's a lot of magical radiation. People get sick a lot, especially if you spend too much time close to these anomalies. Spent a decent amount of time, or at least I did when I was younger, attempting to figure out how to close a lot of these to no success. Afterwards, I sort of abandoned that as a wild goose chase. But he reads through it again. It seems like whatever it is that they have their hands on, they're rather worried about. And considering I'm pretty sure this time period that this most likely came from was at the collapse of the Empire. Maybe before, maybe during, maybe a little after. Hard to tell, really. When it comes to the death of a country, it doesn't happen overnight. As to what it was, obviously these individuals thought it was dangerous enough to want to hide this. He goes back to the first page. I recognize not this name, but I do recognize the Order of the Blind Monk. Where do I recognize that from?
It was a Vaitian order, I believe.
Militant, if I remember correctly.
Before the Reformation.
Oh, yes. They, if I'm remembering things correctly, they sort of act like the, an organization that works with the Valier Society, where they come and collect certain things in order to make sure that they don't end up in certain people's hands.
Ah, yes. Yes, they have a long and fanciful name that makes it very difficult to look them up sometimes.
Indeed.
So, yeah, the Veiled Archive.
That's
Always slips the mind, that one.
As to what was in there, it's hard to say. There were a lot of... what's the word I want to use? There was a lot of desperation up there as everything was starting to fall apart. Rifts were opening, demons were pouring out, undead were sprouting up from the ground. There were a lot of attempts to basically come up with some Wunderwaffen, something that would turn the tide magically overnight, and, well, a lot of them ended up not working. A lot of them ended up killing the people who tried to work on them, destroying themselves or perhaps even buildings. Others, people vanished, and that was the last you ever heard of them. I actually have made a small part of my work trying to track down some of these items, but most of them end up vanishing into the fog of time. When so many of them end up exploding or killing either their creator or those that they were made for, it's really hard to find anything. Stack that up on top of the fact that the Empire was falling apart. Well, where did you say this place was you found?
It was around Innsbruck.
Oh, that was a military
India.
installation up until relatively recently, in the grand scheme of things.
Yes.
I've been the military interested in moving something like that, but, well, I'm not sure. I might be able to date some of these, but it would probably take some time.
If you believe it's worth the effort, we'd certainly be willing to wait.
Possibly. It might take me some time to look through some of this. Perhaps I can attach something from the Order to things that they were moving. Perhaps they were acting as the last line of defense, trying to smuggle important things out. Important people out as well. Although a lot of, especially at the end, when the city fell, even some of the most powerful people in the entire empire died there anyways. The Emperor himself, his court wizard, basically most of his inner court, all went down with the city.
What happened
Right.
to it?
Well, overrun, demon incursion, certain cults that apparently were rather interested in tearing things down in order to try and remake them in their own image. Obviously, when you cut pacts with demons, they don't ever work out that way.
Classic story, you never come out on top. Unless you're a warlock and that's your goal, but otherwise, honest people cannot deal with demons. It's
No.
the recipe for disaster.
And ultimately, that's sort of how the city fell apart. Held out for quite a while, some of the thickest walls ever built by the hands of men. But of course, the weak points weren't in the stone, they were in the people guarding them. And somebody opened the gates from inside for them. Emperor makes his one last charge out into the fray. It turns out to be a Valenian retreat, and the Emperor ends up dead, thrown into the river, taking with him the Imperial jewels, and perhaps one of the most powerful swords ever made since the death of Aether. So,
Was it ever found?
no. Him, his crown, the jewels, the weapon, the body, nothing was ever found. Swept all the way down River Mons, for all we fucking know. Unfortunately, no. Nothing ever turned up. And I can guarantee you a lot of people tried.
Well, if someone has found it, they're not very likely to make that known,
Probably not.
as it would be a small matter to kill them to take it.
Well, I've always said this. I found it that there are certain objects that are made that no matter how hard you hide them, no matter how they get lost, they always end up making it back into someone's hands. Eventually. It's almost like they want to be owned by someone. And, well, I'm assuming if that would have happened, we would have known by now. I believe that it's gone. As is everything else. And since Haki has destroyed the entirety of the north, changed the entire flow of the River Mons, we'll never really know for sure.
Well,
But if this is what you have, I can see what I can find. Right now, my answer is I don't necessarily have a lot. This is not a lot to go on, but I'll see what I can find.
it's something, so...
Is there any way we can help?
Not quite certain. It would take a decent amount of time in order to try and tie down the Order to any one thing. Although, and he kind of looks around the room, I suppose if you have the time, more hands on deck is generally better.
I give the party a look. I don't think we were planning on anything today, were we? Past this?
Not particularly.
I had my own research to do, but this still counts towards that, I suppose.
I got a few things to take care of, but nothing urgent.
Research? Is that what Republicans do?
Indeed it is.
Well, if you're looking for some kind of research, something tells me my library is probably one of the best in the city. Obviously, the university's is larger, and the free one in the center of the city belonging to or bearing the Palos name is probably pretty close as well. Use it to your heart's content, and Give it a little time. If we can't come up with something, it'll take me a little longer time. If that were to happen, I'd probably have to send a message. I'm assuming I could simply send it to the chapter house and they'd forward it.
Oh, yes.
That would suffice.
That would be.
Alright. Well, I'm assuming all of you know how to read and navigate a library.
But of course.
Enough.
I have some experience.
Very good. Well, and he just kind of turns and starts walking off towards the one wall. Seems definitely focused on something or another, but like the way the eyes move, it's like I don't know where any of this is.
As he
Well,
turns
thank you very
away,
much.
I'm just going to look to Vic. I'm gonna pull out the field log of Desmond Wrath, kind of like wave it a little bit, nod my head to the guy. Think maybe he might. Oh, you're muted.
I wouldn't think so. Seems to be a bit more focused on the magical aspect than the artifact
Wow.
that he may be more familiar with.
There was one thing in particular in these notes of Desmond Wrath. There was a portal, and if he's familiar with magic, perhaps he might recognize the portal. Some of the magic, maybe. Was my thoughts. I'll keep it away for now. Sorry?
Probably best to keep it off for now. This is well beyond what we are at liberty to speak of.
I just nod and without another word, I'll stow away the papers and I'll go look at the books.
Right. Those of you searching, give me a knowledge, history, or arcana, depending on what angle you're going at it from. Since you guys already have more information than he is operating with, you can use this library to your own ends.
Do I go? I could use my one natural 20 of the day.
Up to you.
I don't know.
Sorry, you're one natural 20 of the day?
Whenever I make a knowledge check once per day, I can take 20.
Hard.
Do I? I don't know. Fuck it. I think I'm doing it. I don't know what I was going to use it for today. Fuck it.
Alright.
We ball.
3 rolls.
Nice.
Then.
Yo,
Are you gonna roll?
I did roll.
Oh, he did roll.
Oh, you rolled above mine. Okay. Alright. So, what is the angle people are approaching from? Like, what are you... First of all, A, are you actually researching anything related to this? And B, what are you trying to go for?
Yeah, you go.
I'm trying to get stuff on the end of the Empire.
Well, you at least have have your work cut out for you. There is a absolute glut of knowledge. Maybe not 100% saying like in details, but there's a lot of information like speculating on why things fell apart, how long it took there, why, so on and so forth. Are you looking for something specific within that body of work?
I mean, obviously, you know, the key, the book, the Maleficarum, anything that strikes me as related to what we're doing here. But, I mean, you know, reading books, you can't control F.
Mhm.
So I'll just, like, take whatever I can find.
Okay. Okay. Well, you actually do find something, interestingly, because it's also tied to history as it would to Arcana, but this is more from the history angle. You find a entry on ways that the wealthy and powerful attempted to either divert the disaster that was coming down the pike for them or avoid it, at least themselves. You do find a book that lists the creation of self-sustaining, basically pocket dimensions, primarily within the dream world, and how a lot of nobles tried to capitalize on some of that knowledge. You at least read that a lot of them depended on two things. The first being a hag. Usually a night or a dream hag, nightmare hag.
I don't know why in my brain, like, the first thing what I thought you meant when you said night hag was like a hag in shining armor.
No
Which is
hag.
really funny to think about.
The second being sort of like a stabilizing factor, something that they refer to as the Dreamstone. It says, or it seems to insinuate that the two of them are linked somehow, and that obviously you make a deal with a hag. Yeah, you're not special. They're gonna fuck you over too.
Yeah.
Tell that to literally anybody trying to work for Donald Trump. No, you're not special. He'll fuck you over too. Same thing, really.
There went all our Trump supporters.
Oh yes, there's so many that watch this kind of show now.
He did nothing wrong. I don't know what you're talking about.
So,
Not like he's been convicted of it or anything.
so that at least stands out to you that they mentioned these two things. It wasn't maybe perhaps what you were looking for, but it's definitely what you found.
Okay, so hag and stone. Leave no witch behind.
Okay, Vic, you went from the Arcana side. What are you targeting?
The main thing is, since I thought we were still kind of focusing on the arc thing, he's looking for maybe a mix of like religious worship of powerful magical artifacts or like specific mentions of magical artifacts that might be thematically related or basically just big concentrations of power or destruction in one place is a theme.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to give you information that you already have, such as the Warlock Hockey destroying a whole shitload of the north, opening up a gigantic rift and rendering the entire north into a wasteland.
Good old days.
As one does. You do learn that there were, like, among the attempts that were made, because the demon incursion wasn't necessary. That wasn't like an overnight thing. That happened. That struggle lasted years. And obviously, a country as rotten to the core as that couldn't, withstand it. It was, the Germans marching down into Rome and burning it, in the 400s. It was sort of the end of an empire. And while that was sort of a mass event, it wasn't its total death. But you you find that there was some obsession with the mountain, obviously itself, the Ritternacht, which the city was built into. Ritternacht being the mountain that they believe the dragon fell down through when it died all those eras ago. The truth of that kind of being up to your opinion. And that within the universities and the magical colleges within the city, a lot of focus was spent on projects that were handed out from the Imperial Court, often being handed down by the Emperor's Court Wizard. Phoenix, what angle are you coming at and what are you targeting? You're coming from the Arcana angle at least, so what exactly are you targeting?
Right. I was also going to see if I had time ahead of time to meditate and get that first level skim.
I mean, you would have been able to do your meditation this morning. I assume that was already done. That was kind of
Oh,
assumed.
well, you can do a partial fill, which is what I did, and then you can segmented do a couple minute meditation and prep on the fly. So
You'd have the time now.
Yep, I had a couple of slots open of each level, so I'm assuming we got the use for this, which says I also get a +8 bonus on the check when researching stuff with a particular topic in a library, which
So 32.
is specifically going to be on weird disappearances involving people that seem to use magic, and anything to do with these books that keep showing up, telling them shit that seems like it'd be pretty wild if everyone knew that, and then just vanishing. So yeah, just mainly trying to go through a bunch of, I guess maybe it would be like folk tales even, and just like page through to see does anything match up with the approximate same thing that we're dealing with, to give us an idea of maybe if there's anything else we haven't overturned there.
So definitely with that roll with a 32, you're going to find at least this. The first thing you come across are, if you're looking for things like disappearances or perhaps like beliefs of evil areas or buildings, you definitely believe or find that, especially along like the mountainous areas that run along the western side of this continent and up in the north, that there is a pretty deep-seated fear of anything elven that was abandoned. There's a book that kind of goes over certain things. A man who worked for, actually, the Valier Society some time ago, doesn't state whether they were a journeyman or not or anything like that, but they worked as sort of a explorer searching for still functioning elf doors. So often enough, they would go out to villages, towns, burgs, dwarfs that had those, urban legends, and would use them to search for ruins there and for anything that perhaps might have any kind of bearing towards what he was looking for. And you actually do find that a lot of times he finds not a functioning door, but one that has been destroyed, but still has a bit of like energy to it that kind of gives off an odd feeling, kind of like I want to choose something that isn't fucking gross, or just horrific. But it's like you cut through something and there's that last thread hanging on. That's sort of the feeling that it gets, that it's still connected to something, and, pushing over some stones would sever that last thread. In places where there are disappearances, often enough, a lot of them end up turning out to be animals or monsters. But those that aren't explained, that seem to happen in and around these kind of locations, the locals end up believing that they were stolen by Fae, that they were taken to the Feywild and killed or corrupted into changelings or other things of that nature. You do find in this individual's travels that there were a couple times where he found places where it was obvious that somebody was trying to do magic. Like somebody was purposefully going out there to try and either strengthen the magic in that area or summon something. And that sometimes they line up with people going missing. Usually in a around a dozen people number.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna make notes of a lot of these, maybe in just a big list, and then maybe start trying to jot down little bits of notes on each on like a separate section. So I've got kind of just a table of contents indexed note thing while I'm sitting there reading books 4 times as fast. If there are any that are in other languages, I'll let me know, and I'll also pop comprehend languages, because it apparently just uses the same thing as this spell. So
most of them are generally in common. They're in kind of a, especially the first one that you search for is kind of in a really archaic common. Like, S is written like F's, that kind of shit that we used to do.
Okay.
There are ones, especially when it comes to like fairy tales, that line up with a lot of the experiences that you're reading that are in Vic'Talion. Either they were collected during that era, or they were simply retold and written in the language that they were, spoken in. A lot of them, interestingly enough, especially in those tales, often blame a beautiful elven woman for tricking men, women, children into going into these places where she would eat them. Usually with men and like adults, it was to seduce them and then kill them and eat them, and with children, it was to trick them out with candy or other sweets in order to constantly rattle them.
Okay. Well, let me check on them in a second. I was like, I think I heard a cat open a door.
That's always
I think
a
it's
good
fine.
sign.
So
We
yeah,
see a cat appear behind Birch with just a knife in hand.
yeah, isn't that how it always is, though?
Back to Ohio.
It's just
There's an
Did
internet
someone say
reference, but
Ohio?
it's from Ohio, unfortunately.
sorry.
Oh, what?
I said that isn't an internet reference to dumb shit. You're actually from there.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is a real place.
I'm sorry.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
People live there.
I'm so sorry.
Can you really call it
A lot
living
of my
now?
folks, actually.
What's the
Basically,
riz like of the people over there?
non-existent.
Damn.
Unless they have a
Never
meth
even
pipe.
considered.
They've replaced it with a meth pipe.
Just one gigantic half-burned-out trailer.
You want to see my Riz? It's behind my other myth lab. Which you have
Underneath
to
all
pass
these
my
needles.
first 2 myth labs to get to.
And of course, your license plate reads, my other meth lab is a meth lab.
Yeah. There we go.
God.
Well, it has a plate, but
Well-
it doesn't have any tires.
Honestly, I
guess
feel like we could make bumper stickers that read, like, have an Ohio symbol on it and say my other car is a meth lab, and it would sell like fucking hotcakes.
Oh, definitely.
It might exist already.
Yep.
If it isn't, it should.
And if it doesn't exist, look out for that new rough rolling merch drop coming soon.
Is there one piece of merch?
My other car is a meth lab, Ohio.
Yeah.
I can do this, guys. We can do this. We can make this real.
Yeah, we can make some banger money from this.
We got to cut the stream before anybody steals our ideas.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's right. Do it now. Cut it now.
Anyways, go ahead. What were you gonna say before the cat's interrupted
Just-
rudely?
Yes. So what was it? So, some of them had people disappearing and people thought it was the Fae.
Mhm.
The ones involving the rituals, I want to take down as much information as possible, and just see if I can like extrapolate if any of them might have been. No, honestly, this is just a whatever ritual, but then this other thing fucked it up. And if any of them are like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck they were trying to do. I've never heard of anything, even remotely like that.
Mhm.
Because I figure if there's any of the latter, with just like hearsay that survived, that those could be possible things to dig on too.
Well, I guess interesting enough, because that roll is so good, you actually read one of the stories over again, because you're using the skim spell. You're kind of, and then you're like, wait a minute, and you read that again, and you notice that one of the stories referencing a sizable, possibly half-dead like temple complex, where one of the rituals was done. It lists sort of how like the imagery looks, and it mentions that there was a burn mark in the stone in the center of the circle.
Wasn't that one of those things? What was it? I was like, something else had a burn mark. If it wasn't that first ritual, I think it was in the Temple of Vase.
It was definitely the first one, yeah. Had a burn mark.
It was the first one? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the burning, like as in the temple where you found the burned journal, you're pretty sure that was attempted to be burned on purpose. Like it was in a bin.
Okay.
Yeah. It just didn't burn all the way through.
Well, sometimes they just make them better that way.
Alright.
It'd be a lightning strike.
500 feet underground?
Look, my spell says
I know
that
your
even
spell
if I'm
does.
underground, I'm just saying. Gods can smite people underground too, you know.
It makes me think of that scene in I can't remember the fucking name of the movie. It was about Joan of Arc, and it's the sword in the field scene where she's claiming, this is when she's in England after being extradited for her crimes, where she's claiming to this bishop, God ordained her. She found this sword because God gave it to her, and he's like, "Are you sure it wasn't?" And it's just two guys killing each other, and one guy dies, drops the sword, and the other one moves away. And it's somebody stealing something and dropping it from their hands in the field and running past the guards no notice. Or perhaps just somebody walks by, throws the fucking sword up over their head, and keeps walking. But no, it was God gave it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it wasn't
Possible
somebody just threw a
liability.
match in there with a little kerosene. Nope, it was a God struck it with lightning. 500 feet underground
Yes.
in a
It's
temple.
very specifically using a druid spell.
Mm-hmm.
He was very pissed off at this one specific book in this bin. Oh my god.
Fuck that
yeah.
book.
Don't judge me.
I will judge you.
You can't
Oh.
stop.
Oh.
I think he gets pass.
Daxius, what is it that you are? So you are going for the history angle.
Yeah.
What are you looking?
Kind of
for
because it's
specifically?
my highest stat. So I'm just gonna say, since I took the natural 20, I am more familiar with libraries, probably more familiar than most of the party. So I imagine for the first bit of my research, it's kind of guiding people, pointing out books and stuff, be like, this might help you. Oh no, you're in the wrong section. Stuff like that. Help things go along. I'll even use an expeditious retreat just to fucking dash back and forth. But as I'm doing this, I'm also just getting a lay of the land, so to speak, with all these books, getting names of books, and they're authors that might ring a bell, subjects that interest me, and just kind of mentally noting that.
Well, you do have some
And
personal
I would-
subjects as well. Are you including that in?
If I have time for it, but I mean, I don't know how long we're allowed to be in this library, so I kind of
The
my
implication was
focus. Okay, well then I might as well just do all my fucking research now. Yeah. Yeah, I'll do everything then. But for right now, I'm looking for a bunch of names, books, things that with my historical knowledge, like especially like names that were popular back in those times, and then like the I think the year like was 750 it was around there of and eventually collecting all these books, sitting down and trying to sort of retrace the steps best I can of a potential path the arc might have taken. I'm not expecting much, if anything at all. But if I can even get like a third party, like one like little scribble in a corner of a book or something, or like an account from like a peasant or something, anything like that, just to retrace steps where this could have been over the years.
Okay. Well, the first thing I'm going to say that you come across pretty quickly because the name jumped out, and that is On Ancient Cults. I've shared it with you as On Ancient Cults by S.J. Nomura, because I know that was one of the topics. So that one you might like get right past, kind of back up, and you're like, ooh. Maybe not letting people see that one considering.
Fair.
I know that there was a question about constructs as well, right? Am I remembering that right?
Not
golems or necromancy. I want to say was the angle.
This. I want to say yes, but I'm not. It doesn't ring any bells.
Was that about the enemies that came out of the portals, maybe?
Actually, yeah, probably. If anything.
If it wasn't that, it was. Yeah, I hate it's so fucking long ago that I don't remember either. I have shit made up, and I'm like, why did I make this again?
There was a question that I had a long time ago, like way back in Innsbruck. Something along the lines of like, how exactly does necromancy work with regards to like binding the energies or binding the soul?
That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah.
So, maybe you come across this one, or maybe you mentioned it to Daxius, and he's doing his Speedy Gonzales routine over here, and he manages to find one that stands out. I'm going to share that one as well. It's going to take just a second because I don't want to share all, because then the stream will see it and I can't close it again. It is On the Golem and Construct by Lilia Shura.
That is much longer. I will have to take a minute to read that, but I'm gonna take this On Ancient Cults book. Probably, I assume like the party's all on like one table or something, but like to whoever's there, most likely Fernix at least, I'm gonna slap down this book and point to a part based on the Cult of the Old Sage, and I'm going to point out. Remember how we were told that the people just kind of look around the room. Are not friends. Are the people who are they use a symbol of like a crescent sun coming over a horizon.
Right.
Is this this Cult of the Old Sage uses that symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so they're a copycat.
Good find.
Possible. Again, they're not the only ones. Again, remember there's even the temple in Innsbruck right now that uses the same symbol, and I know your culture, Sven, also uses the symbol a lot.
Wow.
But,
Just making assumptions about my cult. Is this because?
It's an astrological symbol. It's one of the literally most common things to be copied over between different civilizations in ancient times.
Indeed, but considering that this was a cult and from a very a longer time ago.
It is.
Yeah.
Bless you. Bless you.
It is
Everybody.
Captain
yeah.
Dustin.
Oh, yeah. Phew. These tomes have not been opened in an age, clearly.
No, they have not.
But yeah, I figured it was at least worth mentioning.
I think that it's very likely that the two are connected.
I think so,
So,
too.
Those were
Whatever
names
else
there
you
that
pick up.
your characters would remember. Vix definitely would. That being who that cult worshipped.
The Vestamar is definitely ringing a bell. I know that it's from somewhere.
There was a story that you found. when you
Yeah,
were
that's
still
what I was
living.
thinking. It's the story with regards to like the Warhammer and stuff, the Northern.
So
Right,
Stuff
the Frost Giant told us
Yeah.
about that, yeah? So, it says in this
Right.
book that is, if this is, is this public now? Oh, it is public, okay.
Everybody can read it.
Okay.
Up on.
On ancient cults.
There you go.
There is also the cult of the Elder Dragon, which mainly rings a bell because of the symbology and where we found the Ark, or learned about it. The Red Dawn. I don't know.
That one does sound familiar. And
They don't seem to be. It seems to be mostly drunkards and drug addicts in that cult, but I don't know. Doesn't ring a bell.
well, they certainly don't have the best reputation, that's for sure. So the Cult of the Old Sage seems like the most likely one to look in. The Cult of the Elder Dragon, I believe we may have recently missed the modern descendants of.
Mm-hmm.
And the Red Dawn, maybe the ones that we ran across here were basically in the same boat that they were.
I'm not certain. There's a lot to go through, and I don't know. But yeah, I'll leave this book with you all. Y'all are better, more equipped for. It's just what I found.
Take out like a ribbon or scrap of cloth or something and just put it as a bookmark in it and keep the book open on the table. I'm like, right, well, any other relevant information that comes up, we can just start to catalog them. I hope he doesn't mind if using up his tables.
I'm sure he doesn't mind. If anything, he might even enjoy people getting use out of these books. If he's the kind of person I think he is. He seems like a decent fellow, if I will say. He doesn't seem like bothered by you or Sven at all. He seems fairly open and honest so far, but I don't know. I haven't been able to get a great read on him. He seems decent at putting up a face.
It's probably a bit crafty.
No, they always are. You have to be if you're a noble, or else you'll probably lose your head or your money.
Mm-hmm.
Or at the very least, if you're not crafty, surround yourself with people who are. Regardless, I'll leave these for you. I've got other books I need to go look into, and I even have to broaden my horizons now.
Going through these books could take quite a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me know if there's anything
No.
that you're...
I just remembered that I do have this ring. If there are any books in other languages that we can't read, perhaps I could.
It just like nods so not nonchalantly,
That
just
would
like
be a good idea.
flashes the ring around.
Yeah.
I have this
You know, I
ring.
do have this ring.
You are
I will copy one book into another language just so Sven can read it, and no one else can.
So,
I'll keep an eye out for it though, Sven.
you at least know, like, as you're, because obviously, one of you has a magical ability right now that allows you to just, bullshit your way through an entire book rather quickly. You are at least able to see that there is a scrawled on one of the pages near the back at a chapter head, which reads on Ionic Studies and Germain de Rossi.
That does
Oh.
ring a bell. Who is Jermaine again?
Wait a minute.
Well,
You might have run into this information, however, I'm not entirely certain how you would have gotten it.
Hmm.
not
And
it's
that's
That
on
sounds
the
familiar.
Golem construct one, yeah?
it's one of those holistic moments. I may have been given this information, but not in this lifetime, nor through any logical transmission of information. Just sort of happened to sound familiar to something, so I thought I heard it.
I've been there.
I
Well-
thought at least Derossi sounded familiar, but I'm not seeing.
Something just got added.
So, yes, finding that book is relatively easy. Even if you don't know who wrote it, you're able to speak with Christoph, who's like, that's a relatively, maybe not common book, but he definitely has one and is able to point it out where what most likely is in his library.
In my head, I was just imagining, like, Frederick's is like, oh, on Ionic Studies by Germain de Rossi, and I'm just like, got it. Run away, the bolt of lightning. 2 minutes later, plop it down or something. Like a fucking cartoon. Sorry, that was just in my head. It's not canon, but I wanted to share.
Oh sure, it's good though.
So that one's definitely this book definitely has the appearance like it hasn't been used very heavily. It's been opened, but its spine isn't to the point where it's like really flexible as you open it up. You will be getting something, well, actually a few somethings out of this, but in order A, to give you guys the opportunity to read through some of this, and B, in order to give us a little bit of a break, we're going to take maybe like 10-15 minutes. Be back at about 8:30. All right?
I got some reading to do.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, gotta
See you in a
eat
bit.
something.
All right, and we're back. Had a nice little break, and hopefully I gave some people some time to read through things. Because reading is fun.
Hmm. Less exciting, but still fun.
Before we get back to it, would you let me take this feat, Gray?
I don't know, considering we
What are you
have one
talking about?
person that has fucking leadership.
I
mean,
promise I'm doing something
it's-
with it.
It's gonna be the same as like with Tony or with Luga. Like it's not something that's gonna roleplay.
Tony the Tiger? He's here?
Construct requires both arms and armor and wondrous item before
Well,
you can take it.
Ooh.
you
I
need three
I
shots.
wasn't-
Only Furnace could do that.
I
Yeah,
wasn't
I
gonna
was-
explicitly say the feat because I wanted it to be a surprise for the stream, maybe. But okay, there, Lan. I hear you.
Oof.
My desire to knock people down a peg overrides any sense of mystique that I may have.
Yeah.
Respect.
It's fair.
Also, there's no point in keeping it secret if it wouldn't work.
Well, no, this is for the this
Yeah,
this is from the future.
that's fair.
I did think about it, but what was it? The craft magic arms and armor. I thought would be great around level 8, and turns out just not really that useful for us actually. So was kind of glad to drop that one.
Oof, that's fair.
Yeah, the +2 to +3 jump is a little bit too rich for my wallet now.
All right. So, you found some interesting books throughout this rather expansive library.
Yes, indeed. I will say, I did, because you said we had hours here. So I have not only more questions, but I have other things I want to research.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole bunch of other things, but firstly, I guess, fuck, what to start with? I closed everything and now I have to reopen it.
Mm.
Why do I do this to myself? There it is. Is there a book in here written by a Valens? I can't pronounce these names, Greg.
Yes.
Historic.
This is what happens when I pick Byzantine names for people to read. And you find out their Greek isn't very good.
You know,
No, my
Well, I
English
guess.
already isn't very good.
I always have trouble finding partners for my Greek, my ancient Latin.
Yes, there is. And actually, as you are going over there, you actually see that Kristoff is already there, like having pulled something out and is reading it as you head over, like pretty engrossed with it.
Hmm. Does this happen to be the diegetics?
It is indeed.
Yep.
As you come around the corner, he's like, "Well, I hope your research has been pretty fruitful. I think I finally have something after." And he just kind of like thinks, 2 hours.
Ah. I think it's been productive. I was actually looking for that book that you mentioned, that you're reading right now. It got mentioned elsewhere in the library.
Yes, this is why I recognized where the order came from. Found something related to them, and something told me they tied back to this individual. And he like shows you the spine and taps the name.
Wonderful.
What have you been able to find out?
Well, and he hands it to you. Not something I've read extensively in the past, but I think I have skimmed over it at one point or another. Basically, Siracius was the court wizard to the last few emperors before they, died, and was instrumental in coming up with some of the more, I'm going to use the word ambitious, to be generous, plans to create wonder weapons in order to perhaps fight off the demons which were coming through the portals across his country. The result wasn't great.
So they do have something to do with each other in some sense, at least.
Well, it seems that Marcus Lascaris, who was the head of the blind monks at the time, was his apprentice, so understudy, I figure.
How do you spell that last name?
It's actually at the top of the. So I made available to you the contents of the book. Lascaris.
More reading.
More
My
reading.
favorite.
You can kind of get the gist using the index, which is why I made it.
Okay.
Looks like their last big idea ended up killing one of the emperors, and perhaps made the last one sick enough to charge into the fray, which, considering that the imperial line had kind of grown a little inbred, the family tree had turned into a family wreath, it wouldn't shock me if this was just another kicking the jewels for that.
Well, I'm going to take some time to read through this myself. Extra pair of eyes doesn't hurt.
And considering the time period that this individual fled the city, I'm thinking you might have a match. As to
does
what
sound
was
like that,
in
so.
that arc, something tells me it was what they mentioned at the bottom.
At the bottom.
Possibly ionic weapons, armor, things like that. Things which, when used too heavily, made the user very sick.
Yes. So armor is quite possible, but anything that could have been, well, enough of a breakthrough could have potentially been the last straw.
Possibly. Seems though it killed Hadric the Sixth, and Vic'Talion I'm not sure about. There were a lot of things going on, and his life isn't nearly as well documented now as one would think, considering he was the last Empire. Things happened
Been
to
a
him
lot
in
of
advance
folks.
of the fog of war.
A lot of folks have scribbled over those stones by now, so a lot of information to sort through.
If you want, you can borrow that one. It's a relatively common copy. You could find it at the Palace Library as well.
Oh. Well, of course. We'll return it, of course. But thank you.
Do much appreciated still.
Fortunately,
Daxius.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was gonna joke and say Daxius does not intend on returning this.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that might be the end of what I can really tell you. You're saying that eventually it made its way to Innsbruck, left there. I don't really have an idea as to direction-wise or even what was necessarily within. My best guess is that it was highly magical and highly dangerous. Armor and weapons.
Mm-hmm. That's true. It definitely could have been more than one thing. Just as much as they could pack in and transport with some safety. It's evident that their containment methods may not have been sufficient.
Well, depending on what your interest is, I might do a little bit more research and perhaps we could probably try and schedule a little bit of dinner. And relate what I know and perhaps put forth a bit of a proposition. But it depends on what I find, which at this point, I'm not confident in.
I would quite like to join you. I assume if there's no other objections, we do tend to keep our schedule coming here this week rather open.
We have some things that we would like to do, but yeah, I don't think we have anything written down.
I would like to.
Then I'll send you an invitation once we have everything ready. You can make a decision then.
Well, fantastic. I'm sure we'd be grateful to accept.
Oh, and as for Cyrus Hatzbolt, I don't want him having any of this. He's an asshole, and you can tell him I said as much and he'll know why.
Start whispering into the sending stone.
I like you.
Well, you're rather forward for a servant for the Hatzbolts, so you at least must be aware of who they are.
Oh, I am astutely aware. Again, this was just business. I'll tell him that nothing of interest was found. But this does help them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's as much as I
Very
can
good.
provide at the current moment, and interestingly enough, I wouldn't be bothered to find some of this if any of it still exists. After this, I know the blind monks end up vanishing off of the face of Valor, and well, if we find out where they ended up laying fallow, maybe we'll have some knowledge left over. It's always valuable. Anyways,
Certainly.
I
I'd be
could not have
delighted to
just.
tell you, provided it's not information still being fought over.
hopefully not. Considering it's
Keep in mind-
been 700 years, something like that, I'm hoping that most people have forgotten.
Right. Well, you know what they say. Some things never change.
People generally don't.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, gentlemen, I think that's about as much as I can provide you for one day. I have my own previously held schedule I need to attend to, and look for my message or messenger, whichever one happens to run into you.
Of course.
I'm quite certain you'd be able to navigate your way out.
Yes, of
Well,
course.
Definitely.
Before we go, though, might I just take one last look around? There was... I didn't get around to it, but there was a name I was looking for my own personal studies.
Sure.
I don't...
No problem.
Alright, and I'll just zip around. The instruction manual of Enhanced Conjuration and Illusion was written by an Oldham Gothenburg. Is that name anywhere on these shelves?
Let me look, because I believe I have a list of books that I have written up. Well, not written up, but because you have, yeah, the instruction manual of Enhanced Conjuration.
If he has any other books.
He does have a copy of that one, obviously.
Ah, damn.
In significantly better condition than the one you have.
Holy
You
shit.
also find one on the spheres of magic, which seems to be a relatively straightforward primer. As
No,
well
just a
as
primer, I don't care.
yeah, as well as basically the Enhanced Conjuration and Illusions kind of sequel. It's the other half.
Right, did I already have the other half?
Let me see. No, you didn't.
Okay.
So this might be
That's right.
this might be what you were missing out of it. Yes.
In that case, oh man. Does it look like this is the only copy?
That he has, yes. As
Shit.
opposed to it being the only copy, period, probably not.
Okay. Nah, I don't want to piss this guy off. Am I allowed to? If I'm borrowing one book, might I borrow another? At least.
Well, as long as it's not something under glass, be my guest.
Many thanks, and I will take it off the shelves and put that in my satchel.
Yeah.
My bag.
I'll spend the time waylaying him with, you know about this one cool thing that I found out about in that book. And then, if Daxius takes a little longer, I'm like, oh yeah, there's also...
He will kind
No,
of direct the conversation towards, like, the three of you who are left, like, considering I don't think anybody's introduced themselves.
Oh yeah, we did.
Shit, you did.
You guys are
I'm
real
never
good
so
at
terribly
that.
sorry.
No, we
I
are
didn't
not.
ask.
If
We walked in, he said, hey, you want to check out our library? And we just said, okay. So that's what we did.
if it makes you feel better, we have had a very rough past couple of days, so I think we're just all totally frazzled. Phoenix Hoppenhaus, apologies again.
Well, your ancestors were real dicks, weren't they?
Well, yes and yes.
Vic'Talion.
You're real quiet again.
I don't know if it's my internet or if it's my mic, but I'm either quiet or loud or quiet.
I know. I'm gonna keep it up, and I'm waiting for it to get really loud again for no fucking reason, and have to be like, "Oh shit!"
Well, that's why I put the mic right in front of me. It's like I don't know what to do about it.
I don't know. So I'm assuming what you said was you introduced yourself.
Yeah. Just Vic'Talion.
Samuel.
Sven.
The big cat like staring out the window at the bird, like what you eat. Well, I can't exactly say I think I've met any of you or heard names necessarily, but I have been rather busy the past couple weeks. I actually only got back into town a few days ago.
I'm sorry to.
What was your business?
Coming up north from Port Azar, some a bit of business, considering I have a lot of money tied up in shipping companies down there. I like to make sure that what's coming up from Madrar and other countries in Asori makes it here and nothing is being skimmed. Plus, it's a beautiful city. If you've never been, I'd make time at least once before you die.
Oh. I think I shall endeavor to do that. I do believe I've had a couple of coffees from, well, at least that have passed through that port.
Well, I'm sure my father will be waiting for me, and the last thing I want to have him do is have the servants bring him down the stairs in his chair. So, it was a pleasure meeting all of you, and look for my message, or if you need anything else, feel free to send your own.
Of course. And
Much
thank you for your
obliged.
time. Give a polite bow.
Yeah, he gives a very slight one, and then makes his way out, the way that you came in. Just as you see a servant walking down the hallway very quickly, you hear him yell, "Tell him I'm coming! I'm 45, I'm not his child anymore." Gods.
Does a
Yep.
servant or that
Some things never
servant
change.
like ever like get close to us, like within like arm's reach?
No.
Damn.
Yeah, well, it depends on where you're standing, because they only get to, like, the door into the library.
Well, they said they were coming to bring us up like refreshments and such. Like I assume if
that
we were
did
like at a
come.
table.
That did come.
Can I
Oh, lovely.
in that case,
I'm sure they were
when
good.
a servant does come and like drop something like that off as they're by the table, I meant to do this earlier, but I forgot. Can I sleight of hand put some money in their pocket?
Sure. Give it to me.
Oh, there it is. Fuck!
You took your nat 20, and here's your nat 1. Welcome to Rough Rolling.
It's not called that for no reason.
You know, I haven't
Shit.
been rolling as bad as the, so I think the rest of the group is finally starting to annex some of it.
Yeah, everyone's
yeah.
kind of spread out when this happens, so... Thankfully, like, they're
Yeah, we're,
putting the tray down as you go, and you bump into them spilling, like, a little bit of liquid onto, like, the serving tray, and, like, the gold pieces hit the floor.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It looks like you dropped some things.
Mhm.
Let me pick that up for you.
Daxius then slips on the gold, bashes his head on a nearby table, which knocks down a vase. 30,000 gold.
Oh,
Isaac
There's just a-
starts eating his face.
Now gone from looking like he's doing something nice to looking like he was trying to pick the guy's pocket.
yeah.
A shard of the vase
Yes.
flies over, hits a dog. Dog goes feral,
Oh god.
starts tearing apart a small child.
You know, the nukes
Oh,
go
my
off.
God.
Wrong. Meanwhile,
It's-
Daxis, after hitting his head, he just goes black. slowly wakes up on a carriage. A man turns to him. Hey, you're finally awake.
It's handled relatively smoothly. You find that the servants are like, yeah, the person obviously isn't like freaked out that something, that he's gonna get in trouble or anything like that. It's very much, well handled.
I'll just kind of, in a much more not so subtle way, just like pick up the coins that fell and just like grab his hand and like put mine over it, kind of forcing the money into his hands and be like, you are a truly amazing servant. Thank you for everything you do.
He kind of, does one of those, okay, and like wanders off, like a bit of a smile on his face.
Yeah, he gets 10 gold.
Alright, cool. A pretty good boon for someone like that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of
Alright.
coins to put in one hand.
Fair
Well, thankfully,
point.
they're not like huge fucking coins. So,
They're not mini pancakes.
no. Either way, Kristoff the Younger leaves you in the library. You've definitely accomplished a lot of things while you were here, and yeah. What's the plan now?
Sorry, I hate to keep doing this, but I had one last question since I took the natural 20. Something I wanted to
Fucking
research.
Columbo?
just one more thing. I tried doing research before on a town that was in the Wettestrom Mountains or near it. I failed, but doing this research and looking through all these books, could I have found that town?
Oh yeah, would that be... What knowledge check would that even fucking be? Wouldn't be local, would it?
Geography.
Geography, yeah, I would assume.
Yeah, you'll definitely have time. Like each check, I think covers what, an hour.
Sure, yeah. I didn't know if that would have come across like during my research at all.
I think that would
I mean, it's
definitely be
technically-
like you would notice books that should have information like that.
Okay, well, I'll roll that then. No, I don't find it again, probably.
Okay, well, let me find. What did I write down?
The fact that the DM is looking for things means I did find something.
Yeah, it's almost like I made things between this time and this time.
Fair.
Yes, the town was Vetterholm.
Yes. Okay.
So,
But do I have like a location? Oh, sorry, you continue.
So even like going across, you definitely find like books that pertain to this kind of thing, geography as well as just information on the local area. Probably falls into the purview of the Duke of the area, considering you think you might rule over that. It's hard to tell. You do find it, a Vetterholm listed.
Okay. Would that be on the east or the west side of the mountains?
The eastern side.
Eastern side of the mountains. Okay.
Is, let me find the tool.
Ah. Oh, that's not too far.
You see it listed as basically a very small town, like a hamlet or a village.
Oh yeah, I
The
assumed.
last time that they did like a census, which was a good 15 years ago, it only had a population of about 200. You see most of the pertinents listed about it. Kind of low tax revenue, that they're near a now buried passage through the Vettersturm. That the Torvatchers have been the lords there for quite a while, and there are a decent amount of ruins in that part of the Vettersturm. Mostly have not been able to be accessed due to a lot of those avalanches, rock slides, collapses.
Perfect. That's exactly what I needed. That's all.
Yep. you do now?
Well, he wasn't horrible.
Seems passionate about this sort of thing, if I had to guess.
Indeed. Dare I say, I actually liked him? It's new. I don't really have a beat on him yet, though. I guess we'll see where the dinner goes.
Can we set up a romantic dinner?
Ooh. Get those player romances going.
Hell yeah.
No, I wouldn't date it.
Dude, everyone wants to date Etor, alright? You gotta pick someone else, alright?
It's like a love triangle. It's
Oh, you cut out at the end.
I said never mind because this is going. This is stupid. Fucking stupid.
Fair.
Anyway,
Well,
well, most of you didn't have any business that required my attention. I had a few things I wanted to take care of.
right. I was probably going to run down to one of the libraries. I got most of what I was looking for, really. There was like one or two other things that I wanted to look into. That'll still take me a few hours, though, I'm sure.
Right. I think I'll need to step out for a second myself.
Back to your usual crafting, I assume.
There are a couple of things I was hoping to take care of. The thing you put in an order for. That too.
Yes.
Although I don't know if that one's going to happen. We'll see.
Let me know, because I can purchase it. It'll just I would rather not chill out, because if I did buy what I was asking for, it would literally cost me what I got for free and then some.
I'm planning on converting over another of these things here anyway, and I just haven't worked with it before is all. So
That's fair.
I'll let you know if it's possible. If not, then yes, it may be something we'll have to look into.
All right, and no rush on that one, by the way. I'm sure you have other priorities.
Oh, no worries. Always do.
If
You
you
know
need
how
some
it goes.
assistance working with the armor aspects of it, a few years as a well, wasn't a focus, but I spent some time as a blacksmith from time to time.
Oh.
I don't think you've mentioned this before.
Not particularly relevant, but when I was at a few different parts of my life, I ended up working on the armor for some compatriots as well as just for money. Nothing major.
I see.
It's still helpful.
Sense motive on that, as he drinks deeply from a glass. Like,
What is your goal? with
I'm
this?
not. I don't think you're lying or anything.
He's not lying.
But like,
I mean,
more like, what are the emotions when you're like, oh, it wasn't important? Like, is it like something you're like something on your mind when you say that? I guess.
if you got anything, I mean, I'm not going to roll bluff because I have a -1.
That's fair.
So I don't think that's gonna quite get to a 28. Maybe, if I get really lucky. I guess if you were to catch anything, it would probably be the part where he said, not necessarily just like other parts of my life, but maybe like a very light cringe when he said compatriots, because he was not referring to you guys.
Right. Okay. Dax just takes note of that.
Okay.
When's the last time you ever tried blacksmithing? A long time ago, or?
Not that long. I was working with Melia. We had a few stops. One of the towns that we ended up trying to find refuge and didn't have a lot of options for making money or finding some residence, but managed to strike a deal with the local blacksmith to work for a few hours a day and get a place to sleep.
Doesn't sound like a bad gig compared to most.
No. It was relatively common. Working for whatever our next meal or place to sleep was. Certainly wasn't fancy, but we made do.
It does sound like a nice set of memories, though.
Yes, the calmer moments are ones I look more fondly on. There are plenty of us that I'm sure she would be happy to tell you about as well. Not that unlike what we've been doing the last few weeks.
I have no doubt. You two definitely seem like you got into a lot of shit in your time.
I'd love to pick your brain for some of the stories you must have to tell.
Perhaps if we have time.
Perhaps.
I'm sure we will eventually.
Never.
No. It's the last time they ever had time again.
They all died.
From not having enough time.
Not from anything else, just lack of time. You hit the time limit.
It's, a
Yeah, it's
time
like
up.
when you're playing Mario and the timer's counting down. What happened?
Play the music faster and make me really anxious. That's gonna help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
Only the best memories from Nintendo. That'll
Well, I'm
be a
sure
lawsuit.
there's Oh, absolutely. Just mentioning their name. It's just inviting trouble.
That's right.
If Power World can get away with it, we can get away with mentioning Nintendo.
That's true.
Alright, anyways.
I'm sure we all have stories that we've yet to share, and I'm quite interested in all of them. We should have a drink sometime and discuss. If not tonight, well,
Perhaps.
there's always the future.
Sure. We'll find some time.
Right. Oh, yes, I have to see about that other thing. Right. As usual, I've overbooked myself, so I'll be off then.
I think we all have a bit of business to take care of. Suppose we
Seems
can
so.
meet back at Banner Home around sundown, I suppose. At the latest.
All right. Well, see you all then. I just start to go down, and I just turn off, go down an alley, and give like one of these from behind.
Alright. So you're going off to do your thing. Vic, are you going off alone as well?
Unless anybody needs help with something that they're doing, or is looking for somebody to go with, Vic has stuff to do.
Okay.
I should be all right personally.
Then Burnix and Sven?
Well, I always need help in all things. No. I was going to see if there was a construct crafting guy who I could pay money to give Etur a voice.
You could definitely find somebody gifted enough in the magical arts in order to accomplish something like that. Even if it's not in the market, you could either go to the college or to the tower you all fucking hate.
It's not the tower, it's the fucking walk.
To be fair,
Walk, bitch.
he'd probably have reason to overcharge me. But sure, yeah, I'll head to the college and just find somebody and be like, I didn't like totally screw this up right. I don't have to make Etor 2. Well, I'll just have the dispel magic scroll behind my back and be like, think about the stair boards and the other various wooden furniture before I dispel him. But
yeah, you're definitely able to find somebody who does that work there. Is there a fixed price or something like this?
it's a 500 gold
Oh
in
yeah,
cost.
you'll definitely find somebody. Obviously, to college with like people that are 10th level or higher teaching. Yeah, you'll find somebody there.
Sweet. Yep, if we're all Gucci there, yeah, I'll just pay the 500 gold up front.
Mhm.
And assuming Etor is not there immediately, I'll find him and tell him to get over here and coordinate with this guy. Do whatever he tells you. Except kill me. Don't do that. Then you'll die too.
All right. Sven, that leaves you.
I was just gonna follow Phoenix around, honestly, and just chat with him.
Fair enough.
Oh. Okay. And I guess I do have enough time in between everything.
Okay. Then let's start with Vic.
Okay. Just gonna make a couple stops. The first one is just kind of going around the city. Maybe
It was a very bad bite.
biting people, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Biting and then
Biting
about
people?
almost slipping and leaving her full body weight on my thumb, balanced entirely by one tooth.
Oh,
Walk in front of the camera
Yeah,
and
such a tiny
point
thing,
my.
though.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where it didn't totally hurt, but I felt how much it would have hurt, and that would have sucked.
Yeah.
Oh.
She
But
just
yeah,
a sweet.
I want to get the sense of which gate is like the most heavily foot trafficked.
Most heavily foot trafficked. Probably the one. Are you talking about like out of the city in total?
Well, let me rephrase that slightly. So what I'm looking for is a good place to build another one of my like
Okay.
traveler shelters. So something that like has a lot of like cart throughput, not necessarily something that's just like people who are walking in and out of the city normally,
Yeah.
like people who
that's
live
where
just
I
outside the
was.
city, but like people who are traveling from different parts of the world.
You're thinking either the road, going south out of South Shore past Reitland, or the road leading north, past the university, both of which run along the river towards important towns.
Okay. I think that I'll probably stick with the southeastern road out of Reitland because that's relatively close to the Temple of Sojourn.
Okay. Yep, no problem.
So, as part of that process, I'll see if I can find a good place to get some basic like wood construction materials and
Yeah, it's not a problem.
I don't know.
Maybe cost you like a gold to get the wood and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make this one a little bit bigger. Maybe like comparatively the size of like an outhouse and a half.
Okay.
So I expect it
Maybe
to
a little
take
more than
the
you-
better part of a day to put this stuff together. So I'm not going to fill it out with supplies yet, but I plan on taking it out again later
Okay.
to actually put some basic stuff there.
I'm thinking maybe the supplies in total, since you're going for like something bigger than like a little neighborhood lending library, probably be like 5 or 6 gold in total for wood, nails, stuff like that.
Yep.
Which you would find really easily, even in South Shore, in the markets and bazaar by the Laughing Knoll, you're able to buy stuff like that without an issue. Then it just depends on you picking a location and doing the work. People will look at you a bit oddly, but nobody's gonna like. There's so many people. They're not gonna bother like interrupting or anything like that. And yeah.
Not like super close.
You're in and out there for a second.
Yeah, basically just saying he's gonna get the horse and the carriage. Maybe not the Vardo, just like rent a carriage or something.
Yeah.
And probably ride about maybe half an hour to 45 minutes outside of the city. Just a decent little ways out, so it's not like super, a bunch of people staring at him while he's working.
I would say
We would have to
total-
stop by Innsbruck, or not Innsbruck, Bannerhelm at some point
Oh yeah.
to get the horse and the stuff.
Mm. I'd say in total you're looking at like 8 gold in total like expense, not including your time. But you're able to find a space where there are definitely a lot of both merchants coming up the river as well as farmers bringing their goods in from the farmlands, of which there are many. I did not draw them because I did not want to on this map.
Yeah, I
But
don't
there are
blame you.
many.
There
thing
is
that-
plenty on this map. You've
Very
done
many.
more than
Yeah.
your service.
Barry
Was that the thing that
Barry?
Barry? Yeah, I was thinking that was the thing that Barry was talking shit about on Reddit.
Yeah, which I mean was more of a me busting his balls because they said that on that one subreddit that's made for maps.
Hmm.
hmm
Ah,
And I think a lot
Every
of people's
time it
reactions
comes
were,
up.
I wouldn't want to draw this fucking squares either. Shut up. Yeah. So a lot of the people that look at you are mostly poor or working slash like nouveau riche class, your bourgeoisie and your proletariat. And it's gonna take you a while to do construction like that. It's just gonna take time.
I can roll for it if you want. I do
Um,
have carpentry.
Yeah, if you want to try to do it to save some
yeah,
time.
that was. I was trying to avoid it happening. Okay.
Yeah, I mean we can just see how it goes. They'll spend more time on it if necessary, but
Yeah.
it's not that fast.
I don't think it
It's
would
not bad.
like save you a lot of time. It's gonna take you the better
Ain't too
part of
hard.
like 5 or 6 hours, but that's also including travel time, purchasing, breaks, stuff like that. So,
You know, he's not rushing it.
okay, no problem. Which that will bring you to about 5 o'clock. Ernix, you and Sven, I'm thinking that's gonna take some amount of time, at least like a couple hours to do that work.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Do either of you two have anything after that? So let's say it takes like 2 or 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Like, I assume you've got, stuff to bring up back and forth.
Mhm.
And then I'll eventually be like, what was it that I was going to do? Oh, right. It was something else that I wrote down in the thread that I realized like 30 minutes before game. Oh, wait, Gray is not in this thread. This is not something you'd be able to see. No. So, I wanted to see filling the timely instant return of the letter that I had sent out earlier. I was going to see if I could try for another route for sugar glass recipe,
Okay.
or even go and see if there's anyone doing such an insane thing in town already, which is certainly possible. But I figure since it's such a basic thing to make, it might be easy to find someone and just be like, "Hey, I still want it to look like real, but it's just going to be sugar glass. What should I be doing?"
I think you would probably be able to find a confectioner that would be able to make something like that. It would probably, if not be in Center City, then in the Hallowed Vale, where the people that live there would have the money to buy such extravagancies. It'll take you a bit of time, both walking and asking around, in order to find somebody. And the woman in the confectioner's shop, when you ask this, is like, kind of looks at you like, "Why the hell do you want to know this?" And then she's like, "Whatever," and just asks for a little bit of money in exchange for tutelage, and then Sven, there are a lot of
Whatever
sweet
she-
things there. I'm sure you would like that a lot.
A lot of what?
Sweet things, because it's a confectioner's shop.
I don't think Sven actually likes sweet stuff very much. He's more I don't know. Sweet stuff gets stuck in his teeth.
Well,
Maybe
you're
he'll
gonna
buy,
be
like-
surrounded by
Oh,
a lot of
probably.
stuff you don't like then.
He'll buy a meat pie.
Fair enough.
Probably buy some sweets too while I'm there.
Sure
So
you don't buy it off of Hook Street. Oh.
so yeah, I'll take down some notes and then be like, you know, bringing up the various stuff that we'd use for coloring our homemade stuff, and then be like, you don't want to hear me ramble on about that.
Okay.
But to be fair, those fish scales were really vibrant green and added a nice saltiness.
It's gonna take a little bit. You're probably gonna spend the rest of your afternoon doing this. Sven, I'm not sure if
Mhm.
you're gonna enjoy watching this or what you're gonna do during this.
I don't know if Sven really has much to do. I think he's stressed a lot about this, and he's just trying to like keep his mind off of things. So he's just gonna bother Fernix
Nice.
and just talk to them about stuff and kind of like seem like he wants to talk about something, but then keeps getting skittish about it and not talking about it.
Fair enough. Then it's a bit of an awkward situation where you have Fernix, who is like trying to learn, and Sven is like, "I want to talk to you in the way." Just like doing this like every 20 minutes at least.
I'm like
Never-
trying to
Oh.
write things down. I start
What?
writing things down that Sven is saying or that I'm about to say to him.
So what does your
Or like I ask
that
or
you've
I ask
seen?
like a question, and then I write down the question, and then when she starts answering, I write down the question again because I'm listening.
So, skibidi skig sigma.
No fucking way.
Fucking what?
Just
Mhm.
making his problem everyone else's problem.
That's right.
Fuck, I heard skibbity at my work multiple times the past few days. I feel like I'm losing my mind every time I hear that word now.
Mhm.
That's the correct response.
Yes, yes, it is.
It's true.
Oh man.
Okay. Well, we got,
But- Well,
it goes okay. It's definitely a bit of a harder thing because it does require like a delicate touch, and it's very easy to like accidentally either A, overcook it and it just turns to dust, or B, undercook it and it's just mush.
yeah, it can turn into a black like puck
Oh yeah,
that is edible, but it's not the best.
yeah.
It would have been better if it wasn't burned.
Yum yum, burnt sugar, only good on creme brulee.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's gonna be your afternoon after getting Etor his voice, which I'm sure sounds very interesting. No, it's not gonna
Oh,
sound
yeah.
like that. My god, no.
A good contrast, and you
What?
know it.
You have to remember, I have to sound the voice.
Yeah.
I have to
know.
say the voice. If I fuck up my throat really badly doing the voice, I am hamstringing myself from doing that. So
Yeah, make sure you pick a voice A that you can do and B that you like and is not annoying.
I did, and it is.
Jesus
What?
Christ.
Why do you
But
think
I
the voice
think
I chose
it'll
for my
be
character-
acceptable.
Why do you think my voice is just my voice lowered down a little bit? Because it's fucking easy.
Yeah.
And I'm also bad with voices, but let's ignore that part.
Anyways, that moves on to you, Thaxius.
Ah. Alright, well, I will be heading to... I need to find it on the fucking map. If I can, the War College.
Mhm.
Every time I see that, I'm sorry. Every time I see that name, yeah, I don't even have to say it.
I'm not changing it because it's a good name.
It is a good name, but man, it's so funny. I'm gonna go to the War College, and I'm going to try and there's a few things I want to research. First of all, jumping on, I guess only two things actually. Now it's been cut down a bit.
Mhm.
I want to kind of jump back onto the train of what I was looking into before, which is like the symbol of the like the dawn, like the setting sun,
Mhm.
that we are told is used by the people who are hunting us, essentially.
Mhm.
I know they have connections to catfolk. And that's not the group, but like the symbol does, largely in catfolk culture. And also, there's this cult of the old sage.
Mhm.
So, I want to just look into all of that. So I'm really interested in this cult of the old sage. I'll roll separately for that if I have to. But I'll spend 2 hours doing this or more.
I'm sorry, just distracted by fucking Mickey Rooney
Oh my god, I just looked.
in chat. Jesus Christ.
I wasn't going to say anything. I'm not interrupting.
I know, but jeez.
Great
Okay.
picture.
Sorry, you're gonna make 2 rolls regarding what do you want to research here or ask around about at the college.
One being just the cult of the old sage, if that's like a big enough thing that to warrant a separate roll. But primarily looking into the symbol of the setting sun,
Okay.
the dawn.
And you think it would relate to the War College how?
They have a lot of books. Wherever has the most books, wherever I think would be, because their estate is quite large. I assume they have a quite large library.
They do, but they're a war college, so primarily they're going to be on historical tactics, strategy, military theory, things like that. You would
That's
probably
fair.
You probably want to use the university's library, the one with the very large rotunda.
Not the Catabraxy?
Well, Catabraxi's college's library is probably relatively sizable, but they're primarily going to be arcane. You'd want the general university.
Right, there's so many institutions in this place.
I know. It's a city with a population of almost 100,000 people in an era this, that's fucking huge.
Yeah, true. Alright, I guess I'll head to the university then.
Okay.
What should I roll for all of that?
Well, I think it depends on what angle you're coming at. Are you looking for like activities related to them? Are you looking for the name of the individual that they are worshiping? Because that one you at least know, because Vic did tell that story. Like he read it out.
Yeah. Oh, that's also written down in one of the books we read.
Yes.
Why was it L something?
It starts with V.
V? Where is that fucking book? Not my Unix studies. No. Oh, here we go. Vestamar.
Vestamar. Yeah.
That's them. So yeah, I already know that.
Mhm.
I just, I guess for now, I'll just narrow it down to just the cult of the old sage.
Okay.
And just, like, what their activities have been, who, like what their past, present, future. No, not future. What?
Sure.
Yeah.
That would be knowledge history.
I can absolutely do that. Big money, no whammies. I took 10.
Okay. So, you're able to spend some time at the university's library. It is pretty nice in here. Obviously not as nice as the library belonging to probably one of the richest nobles on the continent. But
Yeah.
it definitely has a different atmosphere. It also helps that there are a lot of other people in here going about their everyday lives and doing their studies and work. With that role, as well as with the assistance of like librarians and others working in here, you're definitely able to find some information related to them, kind of bits and pieces here and there. Nothing like, you don't find like one solid book that's like on this specific cult. That's probably not going to be a topic that would be very popular in this era, but you find it in magic history as a group that was very interested in certain kinds of dangerous magic, specifically the... what's the word I'm looking for? The resurrection of magics that elves once used that have sort of died off. Like, people who once knew that kind of magic, they're not alive anymore, and those who were alive at that time period either don't know or aren't telling. Which included a lot of experiments, a lot of research, a lot of hunting for ruins, which did bring them into conflict with certain, obviously countries and governments, but also with the Valier Society and both the Shadow Chasers and the Sworn of Azarian, for different reasons. They're the kind of people who they have a goal in mind and they're willing to do what they're willing to do in order to get it, which includes doing violence. There isn't like, they're not a terrorist organization. They didn't like start bombing people or using magic in order to inflict great harm, but their research often ended up killing a lot of their own people, a lot of innocent bystanders, and accomplishing kind of nothing. The one book that you find does speculate that perhaps some of the knowledge survived and was useful, and those who knew anything went into hiding and the knowledge vanished, waiting for some sort of resurgence, an opportunity for them to come back in order to continue their work.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what I was gonna say.
Do we have any idea of if they're like dissolved as of today, or where they might like
It
be?
is believed dissolved. There have been activities that have been reported. This book is a bit old, so you're A, the book is older, and B, it's reporting on things that are probably older still.
Fair.
On certain activities, primarily not just here in Volcaria, but in Falderon, and strangely enough, in both Iran and Devron, as there are, those areas were heavily elven populated at one point. You also do learn that there are definitely certain aspects among elf and half-elf culture that use this as a justification to put on the Reich.
Put on the what?
The Reich.
Ah.
On little jackbooties and...
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Fair
So,
enough.
it hasn't been a heavy rallying cry, and while there are elven societies, specifically Talathar, which are very militaristic, they haven't necessarily suffered from a lot of the fascism. I'm going to use that word, fascism, that has plagued elves in the past when it came to other races. There is definitely still an element there, and especially among the conservatives in those societies, who want to use rhetoric like that in order to justify their expansion or their justification of treating the people who live within their own borders poorly. That, however, does not rise to the level of resurrecting a cult.
Right. Well, this... I personally believe that this is... It checks a couple boxes, specifically the box of weird ancient magic. So that definitely stands out to me. So... yeah, I'd like to keep these guys on my radar. Otherwise... I guess after that, spending another hour looking into other groups that might use these symbols, and along those lines, also looking into the connections with I feel like I might have actually. Now that I'm saying this out loud again, I think I might have already looked into the connections with catfolk at some point, but that was a while ago, and I don't remember.
You did, and I think you came to the conclusion that it was most likely just co-opted.
No, that sounds right. Yeah, I think so. Okay. But yeah, now that we're in another city and a new library that's much bigger, just looking for more of those symbols that might pop up literally anywhere.
I think you might just want to give me just a flat d20, because I don't think this is necessarily
Yeah, I can do
research
that.
to a specific type, just whatever shows up.
Can I argue for an intelligence roll?
Yeah, I could believe that.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, well.
I think ultimately you find things that, like, these symbols seem vaguely familiar, but then you're like, oh, these were like the organizations that didn't survive, or they're so old that there's no way in hell anyone would use them anymore, or the connection is a little too tenuous to really draw.
Right, fair enough. Alright. I'd like to revisit that another time, but for now, I guess the last thing was, Templar Knight Errant Warrant Gondelstone that we briefly met before was looking for a hollow army. Just, I don't really have a lot to go off of, but that sounds interesting to me.
I already gave you a book. In fact,
You
I
did?
gave it to you tonight. I think it was the last book I gave you. The index.
Oh, I didn't even have... That was after the break. I didn't even have time to read that one.
Like I said, skim the index. That's gonna give you this sort of high level.
Oh, it's right fucking there. Okay. Okay. Otherwise, yeah, that's that I'm gonna be a few hours there, so yeah, like a number, like probably like 4 or 5 hours, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. I think the only other thing was you asked about the Barvasi and the bronze braziers, which that was a Valier thing, so you'd probably find information on them there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Alright.
thinking so.
Okay. So, time passes. A good amount of time passes. Fernix, you and Sven finish up at the confectioner's shop. You've definitely learned something. You don't think you can do it perfectly, but it's a skill that you now have the beginnings of. Sven, you have not managed to
Well,
man up and actually speak to him. It's been a bit awkward.
it is probably the it might not be the same recipe, but I'm like I have definitely made this at least once before in my life, and can say from personal experience it's not too difficult to make sugar melt and just
into a form.
not burn.
Yeah, I think it's getting
Yes.
it into a form that is the difficult part.
Yeah, there's like hardball temp and all these other things that you have to worry about if you're actually making candy with it. So that's mainly the thing that I'm asking about, because I'm like, hey, why am I even gonna like go ask a book? It's like I could just talk to this person. They'd probably tell me everything I need to know.
Yeah, they charge you like 15 gold for the inconvenience, but otherwise you're able to use their supplies and that kind of stuff.
Easy. Then I'll buy like I'll buy like 35 gold worth of candy then. Why not? It'd be like maybe
Most candy
give
in Sierra
Edgeworth
is,
something that's actually supposed to be chewed on.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say most of in this era is going to be like things like nougat or taffy or Turkish delight. Things like that are generally chewier. Usually not chocolate. There is chocolate available, but it's definitely pricey in this era. It's honestly kind of in a richer neighborhood. Thankfully, they have the support there.
Yeah. Well, it's that, and also I wanted to ask them about doing. I guess it would be more like the idea of doing molds, and if I could conceivably get like sugar flasks going. In concept, it's probably possible, but in practice, I can imagine that would be way harder.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just sort of like organizing his notes and taking the candy thing and tying it tighter with his tail while he's doing that. Oh. Well, I think that's more than enough of that. I hope I won't need to come back and ask her again.
Mm-hmm.
We got on too well. Or I did with her anyway. You, it seemed like you wanted to say something.
I suppose I'm just worried about, what comes after we deal with this whole dreamscape stuff. I feel like I have questions to ask, yet I don't even know them. I feel as if I'm so blind to what might happen that I don't even know where to start asking questions.
Is there a spot that we could sit down at? I think I
There's
might
the
like to get
bar.
off of my feet. Oh.
I
Well-
pick him up and carry him like a child? No, I don't.
Ah! Sit. Sven, I can walk perfectly well.
Well,
Well, maybe a bit louder than I was anticipating, but yes, so go ahead and speak your mind on it. I mean,
I don't know. I'm just. Sven's quiet for a moment, and he says, do you know what could happen? Like what the possibilities are? I don't even know what to ask.
I would have to know the specifics of, well, primal chaos, which is a sort of effervescent concept. It's
a bit of a what is the word? Contradiction to no chaos.
Mm-hmm. The constant is the changeability.
That's what I worry about. What if I die? What if I become something entirely different? What if that different thing is much, much worse? I find myself asking if I really should go through with this, or if I should just bear the burden.
It may be bearable now, but you can't assume it'll always be someone, honestly, probably deserving at the other end of that knife.
But perhaps it's better to bear the known evil than to risk the unknown one.
It is a noble sentiment, but how are you so sure that this change would be bad?
That's the thing, I don't know if it will be good either.
Well, I suppose there's a lot of changes that aren't all one or the other, really.
This is such a strange form of magic or ritual. It's not the kind of thing you read from a book that's been studied for centuries. It's dealing with experimental and theoretical ideas. It's stuff that we don't know what will happen.
Right. Well, that has piqued my curiosity. I hope that any twinkling in my eye has been, well,
I've seen
more
it and
from
it
concern.
worries me, if I'm being honest.
Ah, damn it. Well, I'm not entirely sure how it's going to go down. And I haven't really contacted an outsider so directly before.
Maybe there's another way that maybe we don't have to do it. What if
it would be...
What if we could just find a way to Sven pauses. It's clear that he's trying to find a way out of it, but he's not
Do
sure
we know
how.
another way?
No.
Then we're going to have to do the best that we do.
Right.
I am at least, well, I can't say I've been mainly wanting to be sure that you're all right above anything, and, well, if anything could have been done differently, I just wish that I had had my ducks in a row earlier and that I'd known the consequences that you would face. But it's not really possible to know exactly how any of this will turn out. And it is good that you've put the thought in. I do at least feel somewhat envious that you're getting to make a almost genial sort of transition into this, whatever it may be. But I don't think
he gives Phoenix a hard look. Perhaps from your perspective it's interesting, but from mine it's deathly scary. Lose who you are, who you've been for most of your life?
Yeah. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? I went into the last...
Wishing myself different is what got me into this mess. You understand that, right?
Right. And whatever concerns you may have had, there certainly may have been other options for it. If not hell, I mean...
Yes, but...
got a couple of spells under my belt.
What I mean is, be careful of what you wish for. And be careful of who you call lucky.
I did say almost.
Right.
On the one end, it was probably better that, well, probably better that we got around to it when we did at least, and been able to put in the fuck the damage. I don't care about the damage. The main thing is, whatever the trouble is, or whatever ends up happening afterwards, I'm not going to simply walk away and wash my hands of the whole matter. It wouldn't be fair to either of us.
Well, at least there's that, I suppose. I appreciate your commitment.
Put someone into my same situation, but potentially without as much of a sliver of getting out of it. It would be like that. And that's one reason why I've been wanting to get the damn thing over with. So...
You and me both, but at the same time, we'll have to wait till after the stream thing.
Oh, yes. I know. But I'm still keeping the magic available, just in case.
He nods and kind of lets the conversation drift.
You know, if, well... What? I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too dramatic. I mean, it's entirely possible things will be fine too, right?
I suppose. but that's a roll of the dice you don't want to take normally. Sure, you could go into a shady bar and bet your life for 10,000 gold, and a lot of people. It sounds juicy, but when you're sitting in the seat and staring at the dice, you'll see that your life is. You know what I'm saying? It's less scary to say and more scary to live.
Mhm. We do all have to take our chances sometime.
I suppose.
Yeah,
I suppose.
I guess that's all I'm trying to say is don't write everything off so soon.
I appreciate you trying to make me feel better.
Hmm. Well, I guess I'm not very good at it. But I'm trying, anyway. And just, yeah. Well, I'm just trying to say you could be in a much shittier situation. So,
Suppose I could.
right. If nothing else, you know, that's kind of the silver lining I'm seeing on this cloud.
Well, I suppose we should be waiting for or expecting the others through the doors any moment.
Right. Because I think I'll get some more drinks or something. Starting to parch my throat.
Alright. So, you guys are able to head back through town towards Bannerhome. Probably just about the same time that the other two are making their way back there as well. It's getting on towards dinner time, and probably would be a bad idea to try and check in with Cyrus, considering trying to figure out where they are with the whole finding the Barvasi's van situation or other things.
Oh, I kind of assumed they were going to find us when they got back in, in the information.
Well, nobody's gotten back to you quite yet, but you also have been scattered doing your own thing today.
That's fair.
As you get back to Bannerhome, you do see that it's about as busy as it usually is on a night like this. What do you guys do? About a little after 5 o'clock.
Should we find Cyrus? I mean, if he isn't looking for us down here, I doubt he's found much. Couldn't hurt to ask, though.
Well,
Certainly.
I'll check the sending stone to see if there's any messages.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
you mean-
actually there is a message from him that simply goes, put it back from somebody that what we may have found out. Find me when you can.
Well, it sounds like he has something for us.
Oh, well, perfect. We're all
In
here.
the meantime, let's go.
Walk over to Cyrus, or wherever he is. Probably is.
You're able to ask around, and the Minotaur who's working there is able to like kind of stand up and actually point back towards the rear of the room, where you see Cyrus standing, looking up at a tattered flag which is hanging from the wall. Like most of Bannerhome, which got its name for this specific reason, the walls in here are covered with trophies. Ruined flags, damaged armor, broken weapons, these pelts, skulls, scales, shells, what have you, of so many vanquished enemies. A lot of them, however, are indeed tattered or destroyed banners, thus the name. And this one he's looking up to that has a plaque under it. Some of them do, most of them do not. This one has a pretty, not sizable, but it's long.
Are we able to read it?
Well, I'm assuming if you go over and
Yeah, I assume we're walking up at this point.
he
I'll
kind of-
I'll just walk up right beside him and just like two people admiring an art piece, just look at the banner and look at the plaque.
You look at the banner and the plaque. The banner is gray and white. It has on it what probably at one point were symbols and numbers, but considering how damaged it is, there's not a lot left. However, below it on the plaque, it helpfully reads, Banner of the 15th Helgrim Light Horse. And then it has a list of names below it, which I will post.
Oh.
I'm assuming that you guys at least can see the names that I want you to see on those lists, on that list.
Interesting names.
I thought I recognized that name. I knew there was a connection. I kind of forgot about this. Probably one of the last expeditions into the north. These ones that were actually sanctioned.
Huh. Into the north, you say?
Yes, some years ago there was a certain interest of the dwarves to see if they could chart out a path, I suppose you would call it. See if they could reach up into some of their old lost skyholds. The goal was always Targash, a city that has been held by orcs for so fucking long that I do not think they will ever take it back. But hope springs eternal, especially for the dwarves. And that first led them through the city of Karaman. It is the very bottom of the Great Scar, kind of half split open by the earthquake. And that would have been the first stopping off point. He then scans down the list and stops at first being Alabaster Hackett, next down being Delasar and Asara, and then below that is Turstamek. These three know each other, and this name, he see, I didn't put any of these in any specific order either. Not that I put it on there. If I didn't, I would be very angry. I might not have. This one, which I just added.
Okay. Ah.
This one as well. He points to that one, Arthur Scrivener. Powerful men here in this city. I'm watching a lot of these people all come back together. Those who are still alive, of course.
Well,
Sure, they went through hell.
Well, that is the story. I'm sure, of all the people, you could probably ask around to see what they say about them, about the situation. But apparently Turslock lost one of his limbs. And that's it. I do not know which.
well, probably be able to ask him.
Anyways. I have heard something back. There is a information broker who wishes to meet with us down at the Red Hall.
The Red Hull.
Yes, down between the foundries. After everything is shut down, when there's no one else there.
Ah,
I
yeah,
only
sounds
got the-
familiar.
I only got the name of Hummingbird. That is about it.
Hmm.
So, wait a few hours. They suggested a little bit after sunset, and we should go down there, see what is what.
All as a group? Just march in there, guns blazing, usual gatecrasher fashion.
Well, we're just meeting with an information broker. I do not think threatening them would amount to much.
Ah, that's what
Or-
that. Well, that does seem to happen whether we plan it or not.
Ben sighs and
there-
puts away his rocket launcher.
That one saying, "Dead men tell no tales," or some such.
Yeah.
Hard to
Something
pry
like that.
information out of a dead man's mouth, yes.
Not impossible, but
Unless
No.
he arbitrarily shares your outlook on things.
No,
and then
I
he's
don't-
totally an open book.
I don't think that's what the original saying meant, but it works.
I do not know. I had the pirates, I didn't really study them.
I think it was more meaning that dead men don't share the secrets you don't want them to, but I suppose also dead men don't tell you the secrets you want to hear from them.
yeah, it works either way, I suppose.
I agree with both interpretations.
You could always go with the phrase of 3 men can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead.
Mhm.
Oh, it's only a secret if it's between 2 people. Any more than that, it's basically public information.
No, I mean, it depends.
Maybe we should
It,
keep the
if all
thoughts.
3 are involved in the original thing.
Either way,
Perhaps.
whatever you've made do with your day today, get something to eat, and we'll head out in a few hours.
You don't have to tell me twice, and I walk right to the bar.
Yeah.
It's not food.
Get food too.
It's liquid bread, technically.
Exactly.
Apparently in Europe it's pretty common to drink drinks that are half beer and half soda.
They are pretty good, surprisingly.
It's what's
Like,
handy. Yeah.
if you ever have a chelada or a michelada, it's like that, but with cerveza.
I didn't recognize any of those names.
Oh, just a Mexican beer.
Ah, got you.
We got an extra border between us and Mexico, or between you and Mexico, so
So you're safe.
not as easily. Yeah.
The one you always see over here is Modelo, which I've been told from people. They're like, this basically is like fizzy water that's alcoholic,
Trash.
and it's true. It has almost no flavor or taste, which is kind of an improvement on Budweiser, honestly. It like leaps and bounds. I'd much rather have a pack of Modelo than Budweiser.
God, I don't even remember. It was like something platinum. I don't know what brand it is, and all I'm thinking is it's the only way you can make this brand taste good is to make it taste like fucking nothing.
Mick Ultra, maybe.
I don't think so. Maybe though.
They've got some sort of like silver can.
So, anyway, you're able to eat, drink, make merry. Is there anything that happens before, during, just after dinner?
Unless anybody has something to talk about.
Information you all obtain probably wouldn't be a bad thing to share.
Oh, yeah, I'll share it in this time.
No, I think we should keep our secrets, honestly.
Yeah. I think I'll tell people about my plan to make a use this nice old lady's candy recipe to make a net of molten sugar glass.
Hmm.
That's the most lethal weapon in existence, and will see us hunted down to the ends of the earth.
And the sugar is to make it taste better, right?
Yes.
Just get one of those like Aztec obsidian glass swords. That's all candy sugar.
Ooh, that'd be tasty. A little macahuitl snack. That'd be pretty dope. I would love one of those.
Oh, I would fuck one of those up.
Okay, that up at the end of that sentence really saved that. I'd really fuck that.
Yeah.
You hear what you want to hear.
See, I heard that and I immediately was like turned to camera and then I heard the up and I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I am actually in character briefly like, oh, should I go just ask Turs right now? It's late. He's probably out of the office already.
Mm.
Plus, we just got our food.
That's fair.
Okay.
I mean, a man like him, either he's still in his office working his ass off, or he's long asleep.
Mhm.
It's 50-50 shot. Take your bet.
No sense in trying to fit too much in one day.
Alright. Well,
I don't mind. I'm just gonna be here drinking if anyone wants to share one.
I mean,
Sure.
Vic, I'd offer you a drink.
Sure.
but I feel like you imbibed before like a meeting, you'd be either extra terrifying or not. I don't know what would happen actually. I'm very curious.
Typically don't drink. Not outside of
Fucking
special
square.
occasions. And as a result, I can see more than 10 feet in front of me and form coherent sentences more than 5% of the day.
Now hang on. I happen to believe that I have gotten quite adept at forming coherent sentences while imbibed.
You stuttered over the first half of that sentence.
What are you, no, what are you talking about? No. Another round, please.
You haven't even started drinking yet.
didn't stutter that.
Nah, I'm used to saying that one quite often.
like, you're not even drunk. Do you just like this normally?
Oh shit, they figured me out.
I stutter when I think about lying. Oh shit.
Yeah, I won't. Considering what we're about to do, I'm going to drink fairly lightly, at least for Daxius.
Like 6, 7 shots. Max.
Yeah, yeah, that's my cap.
Couple fireball shooters should be fine.
Oh yeah.
Bring a couple
Get
wild turkey and bud.
Get
At
the
least it's
fucking
not an
like,
IPA.
party funnel and chug a whole bottle.
So,
Yeah. Drinking.
bunch of alcoholics, all of you. So,
Mostly me, but yeah.
dinner passes pretty easily. The food's fine. It's nothing to write home about, but it's not shit.
Hey, not shit's what we're looking for.
Cyrus meets you at the door and you start your walk. As the night has settled in, or at least started to, the city is starting to settle down as well. Cyrus makes kind of light conversation, doesn't really ask you like what you guys are planning or anything like that, just sort of about nothing. But you finally cross over into the old docks and make your way into the property at the Red Hall. It is long, like the furnaces are cool. It everything is shut down for the the night. This is a time where things didn't run 24/7, especially places like this. So, and amidst the smokestacks and the foundry houses, you pretty much set up in the shadow and wait. Cyrus pulls a cigarette, lights it, and pretty much that's it.
Yeah. I'll light a cigarette too. Beside him.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I mean, I guess. So I'm like, all right, just take out a. Actually, I don't have a tinder twig. I guess I got flint and tinder. Okay.
Oh,
If
I got you
I'm
covered. I'll hand you a
brewing
tinder.
brewing
Oh, wait,
the
no,
coffee
sorry.
in the alleyway.
Hold on.
Not a tinder twig. I have a
Fireball.
smoke stick. Never mind.
Fireball.
Oh shit! All right, I gotta make a reflex save.
Sven suddenly casts a wizard spell.
Alright, so
Dexys just hits the roll button on his controller and just does a Dark Souls roll.
Sven does the animation for casting Fireball, and Daxius just dodges out of reflex.
Like in a fighting game, trying to figure out what the controls are. It's like high punch, low punch, dodge. Anyway,
so you guys were sitting there for a little while. I'm pretty sure it's about 15 minutes before somebody asks, "Are we in the right spot?" Something like that.
Are we there yet?
And Cyrus just nods, and continues with, like, really nursing, like, the cigarette that he's had for a bit, and darkness falls, and probably about a good 45 minutes after you arrive, you finally hear the sound of somebody crossing over the open lot.
A Dark Souls roll.
The sound of heels clicking off of a mixture of pavers, remnants of coal, anthracite, and a decent amount of mud. And you see a single small slim figure enter from the road and cross towards you. By now, Cyrus has used his own magic to summon dancing lights to light up the area for the duration, and he sends a few balls, like, kind of floating over that way, and they glow onto the face of a woman. Young, small, fair-skinned, long black hair, dressed in a way that you think she probably works for the government. Like, her clothes are very official looking, very clean, very middle class. She has a messenger's bag around her, like, from one shoulder to the opposite side, and she holds, like, a tablet with paper attached to it, as if, like, she's an official of some kind. And she stops about a good 20 feet out and says, "Are you the ones making the inquiries?"
Yes. Are we? Yes.
That would be us.
Then I'll be the one that can facilitate that. I'm Hummingbird.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you cut out. What was that?
I'm
Hummingbird?
Hummingbird.
Curious name. I'm Sven.
Information is my
Phoenix.
game, and names are very valuable. Thank you for telling me yours. So,
I just give a long, drawn-out sigh in my disguised form. This
at
is
this
going
point,
to be a
I don't
long
really
one.
care. I'm here to make a transaction, that's it. I can facilitate the reaching out to those individuals who you wish to make contact with. However, most of them have gone to ground. Very deeply so. Seems that something has spooked them, and it will take a bit of coaxing in order to get them to surface again.
What kind of coaxing are we talking about?
100 gold. Partly from my services, partly to guarantee that somebody who wants to talk makes it.
I'm already counting gold into a separate sack.
Okay.
yeah, we can.
Yeah, that's fine. Seems worth it.
what is the arrangement to be?
It will take me about another 24 hours. I will make my inquiries, spread the money, and hopefully somebody comes to the surface in order to talk. I will contact you, most likely this time tomorrow, in order to provide you with the information. You and I will never meet again. It will be entirely by dead drop or letters. It was dangerous for me simply to show my face at all, considering what has happened in the last 72 hours. So.
Agreed. So, thank you for doing so.
As Phoenix says that, I'll just, if I finished counting, I'll just toss them the 100 gold out of my pocket.
Mhm. Yeah, she.
Not in a bag, just on the ground.
Yeah, just everywhere.
Individual
Pick it up.
coins, throwing them at her forehead.
She catches it and like gives it just a tentative bounce in her hand before kind of nodding. My reputation in this city is tantamount to my ability to continue practicing in it. For those of you who have already considered that I might fuck you over, but for you that is definitely something that might happen in our line of work. I, however, have at least a modicum of self-respect and professionalism. So, it has been good doing business with you all. Look for my message tomorrow.
Where can we find it?
I will send it to you. Either directly, or a location containing the dead drop.
Fair enough.
Works for me.
Oh,
See you never.
She gives like a bit of a bow of her head and then begins backing up away. Cyrus brings the dancing balls back, and it's only about once she's 100 feet away before she finally turns her back and leaves the lot out into the street.
She was walking backwards, keeping an eye on us.
Yes. And
It would
those
have
of
been
you
really
who are
funny if she
perceptive,
tripped.
of which I believe there was at least one individual here, you notice that she kept her hand in that bag the whole time too.
Yeah. That makes sense.
The bag
She
of
was
gold
ready.
or a different
No,
bag?
I think her
The messenger's
satchel.
bag that she had over her body.
Yeah, she definitely had some shit in there.
Mhm.
No,
Like,
shit
the
that a
equivalent of
fireball
a-
wouldn't solve.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. She absolutely had the fantasy medieval equivalent of a gun in her bag, though. Absolutely.
Theoretically, she could have had a co-pistol. There is a cannon and
That too.
firearm foundry here in the city, so it's not like they don't exist. You can get them.
That's right.
There's a cannon golem.
Yes, there is. That's from a
Whoa.
that's from a module. That is not from the base game. Related to the.
Sounds like pirate bullshit.
It is, yeah, it is. But after that, you notice Cyrus doesn't move to follow her. He doesn't even move to leave for a little bit. He finishes the cigarette, throws it on the ground, and tows it out. Well, that is about it. This is more or less what I expected.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully turn something up.
Most likely.
I don't trust her, but I trust her business. Especially if she's as connected as she says she is. If she wanted to fuck us over, it would be really stupid for her to do that, so I'm not worried.
Yeah, we also haven't taken
You died.
Vic, I think the drink's getting to me. Can you say that again?
We also haven't really done much
Oof.
to get a hold of us at this point. So.
I agree.
I agree. Not understanding
No,
a word he said.
I actually understood him. He said we
Oh,
haven't really done much to have stuff held over us.
Is that
Right,
what-
Vic?
Is that what he said?
Yes, that is correct. Nothing that's been sanctioned. Nothing else.
Well, and the amount of money that she requested, while it is pretty high for the average person, for us is a bit of a moot point.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, I am absolutely taking that out of the party fund, by the way.
No.
The what now?
Vic will just hand you, assuming that everyone else is going to do the same, 25 gold.
Oh,
And if everyone else does
yeah.
not do the same, then
Sure.
No, no, I do the same. I reach into Vic's coin pouch and pull out 25 gold.
No, wait on a moment. We have I'm not gonna say the amount, but we have just because we're out in the streets, but we have a decent sum of gold just sitting doing nothing.
Yes.
We could
we
spend
can
100
split
of it
up
on
when we get
this.
back. And split it up when we get back.
All right.
Too
Sure.
late.
I think all of that gold was just party funds that Gurgamesh was using to buy gems.
It was, yeah.
That's fair. All right.
Well, if you're worried about it not doing anything, you could go and open an account with the deep gold. Put it in the bank.
Oh, that's true.
So,
I feel like
I
The-
wish I had more to tell you.
what
Yeah.
Robot again, Vic.
there's nothing particularly surprised.
I agree.
Can I just
Well,
leave?
Oh.
I'll just leave. I'll see you guys
Oh,
next
there we
week.
go.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know what.
Vic.
So you guys obviously can't see this, but like that little like ping indicator next
Yeah.
to the voice channel, it is literally just like yo-yoing back and forth between green
God.
and red.
Oh God.
I hate when that happens.
So I don't know what the hell's going on, but my internet is not happy with me right now.
You're
Oh.
clear right now,
Yeah, you're fine
Yeah,
now.
for the next 5 or 6 seconds.
but anytime you want to speak in character, it will shit itself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it just is waiting. Like, oh,
Mhm.
oh.
Yeah, all of my stupid fucking jokes get through, but as soon as I have to actually say anything important,
Yeah.
So, then I will, let you guys go. If you need me, I will, be returning to home for now. Possibly making some preparations for tomorrow. I'll be around.
I'll be here.
He,
Thank you.
gives you a farewell and steps off.
I feel like we're have too much to be worried about. So we should definitely keep an eye out for a type.
Yeah. That feeling's never gonna go away, is it? Of there always being something.
Suppose not.
Oh, he gets about halfway across the yard before turning around and says, "I might go take in another show. You want me? I'm going up to the last drop."
Just look to the others. I'm not gonna say no, and I start walking after him.
Okay.
Alright.
Sure, why
Sure.
not?
Doesn't seem that we're particularly busy at the moment.
It's either this or get hammered at the bar.
Pocket Cat's ready.
Mhm.
You know, I think we should get hammered at the bar.
I agree. We go to the no.
It has been 12 hours.
12 hours.
Pocket
I think
cat
it's only been
hands.
like 4.
Pocket cat hand, spit another beer.
It's been less than one for me.
Alright. So, as you guys depart, heading through the city towards another bit of diversion, considering you're entering into another day where you probably won't have much to do, this is where we're going to be ending our session.
All right. A
Yeet.
lot of lore.
A lot of lore, a lot of roleplay, a lot of not killing
Technical
things,
issues.
excitement.
Yeah, a lot of
So-
technical issues on my part, at least.
Before we end, I wanted to point out we have a couple things in
Sure.
Novardo that we can sell for a lot of money that we haven't been using.
That's fair.
Yeah, the grasp of igneous is something that's literally just been sitting there collecting dust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we're not, if no one's
Yeah,
going to use
because-
that, we need to sell it.
It's cursed.
Yes.
Because- I exclusively can use it. However, I've been disallowed from using it without buying it first.
no,
I'm like,
no one is. That's not how.
Yeah,
and then
You're-
and then also, it is an evil action to sell cursed items to people, unless you tell them it's cursed,
Well,
and they still want it.
yes. However, I mean, yeah, we would tell them the curse, but like, it's not like just straight up a bad curse. It's actually pretty good for certain people.
it's still a curse.
Yes,
I think if we were to sell this to
But-
anyone, it has to be an adventurer. They're the only person who would want this cursed item, and and they knew it was cursed.
But anything,
Yeah,
anything that the group is party loot can be used by anyone whenever.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's just not permanent.
I think
Also,
it-
the shield splitter. I don't know if we're gonna really use that.
that was.
Oh.
I thought Gurgamesh took that with him.
Did he?
think
I think I raided Gurumesh's inventory and stole some stuff.
He
Yeah.
had a different mace or thing he was using,
No.
right?
No, that
No.
was it.
He had his dwarvish longhammer before, but he switched to this.
Okay.
It was also a +1 though.
Mhm.
All right.
Oh god, it's I'm kind of sad we never really fought anyone with a shield yet with that weapon, because that would, with the amount of damage Gurgamesh could do, shields wouldn't matter to Gurgamesh anymore with this thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's also the amulet of natural armor.
oh yeah.
And the ring of protection +1
Where are those?
Yeah,
in
everyone
the bag of
has-
holding.
No.
Ah,
has
I think
everyone
those
gotten
were-
both of those.
I do not know what that stuff is from, but I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be sold.
Oh no, it never did get sold though. We'll do that between sessions so you guys can do the accounting and
Oh, right, we're still alive.
fair.
yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah, yeah.
I guess
Anyway.
All right.
also probably deciding on what you want to do with your time. Once again, I think I said it to at least one person, if not 2 or 3. You can just say, we pass time. You don't necessarily need to do anything. You can say, I read for the day, or I go down to the river to fish. And
Well, honestly, I thought us researching would take pretty much the whole day.
and it kind of did.
It took like all of my day.
You guys rolled very well, though, so you got stuff out of it.
Yeah.
I'm glad I took
Yeah.
that nat 20.
Mhm.
We actually do need to do loot.
Heck
We
yeah.
haven't done all the loot
Alright.
stuff from. But... Anyway, yeah, we don't need to do a count stream. It's not fun. For anybody.
All
We can
right.
talk about it in between.
Accountants and Alex.
All right, and
Take us out, Gray.
I guess with that, we will be signing off for the night, and catch us all next week, those of you who are watching. So, thanks for watching.
Thanks
Have
for
a good one.
watching.
Bye.
See you.